Good evening and welcome.
Order, sit and leave.
This is the best political satire broadcast in the universe.
Order! Order! I say to the honourable gentleman, give me this.
You are listening to Fockham Hall with Eric von Essex.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting show. And tonight's title is Governmentalescapology. That is escaping governments. It's a made-up word. You won't find it in the dictionary. It's one I made up myself. It looks sort of German, I thought. And our guests tonight are Survival Steve. Good evening, Steve.
Hey, you.
And His Royal Hanorak, our Fockham Transport Minister. Good evening.
Good evening, all.
Well, we can call you Paul instead of Hanorak. I think Paul might be on a little bit later. We'll call you Hanorak then. Okay.
I answer to anything, Chris. You know that.
I understand. Well, we've been very, very keen in the chat room tonight. And I'll just add this along the side. Here we go. And what we've actually had is, the first one was on around about 7:30, and 1929. That's it. And it's someone called Narrow Laning. Chris, I'm sorry, mate, but I've stopped watching since AI thumbnails started popping up. Yes, that's only for the title. How can awake people use tools that are to replace us? Convenience is the enemy of freedom. Yes, you've got a point. But I'm saying that, but he or she's not watching because they started switching off because I use AI thumbnails. Yeah, so I can understand his point of view. Yeah, fair enough. Kingston Whitler says, "Good evening, Chris. By the way, you can Kingston Whitler, you can have an MP or shall we say, or celebrity of your choice to do a two-finger salute to. So as you were the first one on, because Narrow Laning won't be watching because he switched off. Good evening, Chris. I tuned into BBC Two. Oh, you poor sod. Have you had a history of mental illness? I should know better, I realise. And the scheduled programme about flashing villages.
Fishing villages,
FLSH flishing villages. Has been replaced with Panorama report asking, is Russia behind Starmer? Well, he might enjoy it. You never know.
Nobody else is behind him.
He likes going up the Arsenal with his mate Ali. And he goes on to say, property firebombing, literally insane. Are these BBC people? The inversion is that they are Ukrainian rent boys. This came after an advert saying trust is earned. Watch BBC. I feel sick, and I think you would feel sick, mate. Yes, I agree with you. Some geezer called Enviro 4000 says good evening. Don't know who he is. And,
who is he?
Yeah, I think that's you. And then Kingston Whitler has come back and said, I love your handle, Paul. We have been those here in southwest London, Surrey. That's right. Pink Planet, hello everyone. And Kingston Whitler says these middle-class, boorish BBC reporters. Oh, do they walk towards the camera still? That's the old one. They used to walk towards the camera. And media wags are retarded in their own ego. Manical soup. Yes, I agree with you. And,
it doesn't mean the BBC report. Doesn't mean the BBC reporters that you see in war zones whilst people are walking past for their shopping and what are you doing?
Yeah, Steve, do you remember that one? There's a geezer with a flak, the old flak jacket, tin hat, and everything. And there's a woman with 2 bags of shopping standing behind him, sort of looking and thinking. And I think it was actually probably done. Was it Brixton High Road or something? That's where it was filmed.
Probably more realistic. You need your flag jacket there.
But I don't. Obviously, I don't want to trick you into saying these secrets. There, but did you ever come across the press when you were in the army? And were they a pain in the arse? Did they?
Oh yeah, the press, yeah. But no, to be honest, I'll be honest. I think some of us as soldiers were probably quite rude and dismissive towards the press. Obviously, certainly with the unit we served with, but no, they're the part and parcel of the whole pantomime. I mean, how can you get your military soap opera on TV without the TV crews? And yeah, it's a.
Sorry. Carry on, mate. Sorry.
I'll tell you, when you saw them with the red X on them, was that sort of a temptation, sort of like a target? 50.
I like these press officers with plasters on their arse where they've been shut up the arse.
But not by a rifle, though.
May I ask, were they 5 miles or 10 miles behind the front when they were reporting from the front line?
No, I'd say, I don't know if that's the right term to use, but to their credit, in some respects, some press reporters were in places that probably their mums wouldn't appreciate. So, so it does take a bit of courage, you could say, if you're not a soldier, to be in that environment. And, in order just to, ultimately the media are just corporate media whores, I call them, simply because, and, I'm not putting them any lower than I myself as a soldier was, because you don't get any lower than that in terms of morality. No, seriously, in terms of morality, and this is where we need to be honest.
We've all been like this, though. Let's face it, we're all like this. We've all been through this. I mean, I was a slave to bloody chasing Danny Dollar.
Well, I totally agree, but you've got to realize if we want to change the world, we've got to fully understand and grasp objective morality. So that means people like and myself, and I'm no longer part of the military, and I think I'm doing the right thing by calling it out for what it is, which is an immoral and dysfunctional part of history that needs to be abolished and not forgotten about, but we need to learn the lessons of our mistakes, our lack of morality, through implementing things like the military and the police and all the other jobs that help this whole system of immorality, the beast system, function. So the corporate media whores are part of that. But then, no lower in the pecking. In fact, they're not as low on the pecking scale as the average soldier. Bearing in mind the word soldier means soul dead, because that's literally what you are. To kill other human beings for money, you've got to be pretty low in the scale of consciousness. And that's what hopefully shows like this is about. It's about raising consciousness by, being brutally honest, essentially.
And also raising debate as well, because if people disagree with each other, we can all do it politely, and it put forwards people's, it increases people's awareness. Sorry, mate, you was going to say.
All I was going to add to that was that I guess it's not just about the government and that sort of thing. It's also the amount of people who will be no doubt following the World Cup at the moment, which is all satanic. And we know that football and main sports are all linked to the satanic world. Man United are called the Red Devils. They're even telling you who they worship. And every time a footballer scores a goal, they run around the pitch doing satanic symbolism. But we still have millions and millions, probably billions of people across the world following this and getting drunk in the process, and which is another effect on your spirit.
I think it's worth elaborating on that just a little bit, if I may, simply because when you mention the satanic world, well, really effectively, we should think in terms of we only have one world, and it's the world that we live in and perceive on a daily basis. And that world can be and again, these are using the principles of natural law. And one of these principles, the Hermetic principles, is the principle of correspondence, which is often described using the expression as above, so below. And we've also got polarity as well. But the principle of polarity shows that there are extremes between either end of whatever spectrum. I mean, temperature can be either hot or cold, but ultimately it's the same thing, it's temperature. So we can speak on terms of, let's just say, morality or human behavior. And human behavior can be good or it can be bad. And bad, well, we can, disseminate that further by using the term satanic. Well, what is satanic? Well, satanic is literally ignorance on a mass scale. Ignorance leads towards the destruction of freedom, and the destruction of freedom is what evil is. So if we want to know what evil is, it's the destruction of freedom. So I would conjecture that football in and of itself isn't really a satanic application, because it's not really about destroying freedom. However, it is a destruction in a sense, because a lot of people are distracted from the realities of the real world simply because they're too embroiled upon things like sports, for example. By the way, football, there's a specific reason that there's 22 players on the pitch and the referee wears black and white, and there's a 6-yard box, etc., and an 18-yard box. Why? Simply because it was kind of it follows the principles of Freemasonry, which a lot of other distractions in life have got some sort of secret society at the helm of it. But to move on from that, the whole world can be satanic if we understand the principles of objective morality. And I would say football's just, that's not even a big thing in the scheme of things. There's plenty of other things which we accept on a day-to-day basis, which are far more pollutant to the freedoms that we desire than football are. But yeah, that's a good point, Paul.
But then I suppose if all the people who are currently following football in the World Cup came together and decided we don't like how we're being treated by the powers that be, this would be over now.
I agree with you. I 100% agree.
But the fact that they're all sitting, getting Oliver Twist and shouting moronic stuff and things that people don't really understand, and worshipping people who worship their rulers.
So,
you know I'm going with that.
I do exactly, and on top of that, essentially, and again, this is a kind of blanket statement because I'm sure this doesn't apply to every single football fan in the world. However, I would also argue that it probably incorporates the majority of them, simply because a lot, or the majority of football fans, are a product of low consciousness. That is in itself, that's what the satanic mind is. It's low consciousness, it's ignorance, it's not being able to advocate others, service to self. And if service to self means that I like to watch the football on a regular basis because it makes me feel happy, well, that's not exactly helping our brethren in the wider aspects of mankind. It's not service to others, which is what moral behavior is in alignment with, is service towards others. So football is service to self largely, and people who watch football, again, blanket statement, are a condition of the lower stages of consciousness. Our job is to raise consciousness amongst a wider audience, and that includes to some degree football fans.
Yes, I agree there.
The funny thing, obviously, I've been learning about the numerology and all that sort of stuff, and I remember I was talking to a couple of football fans they were going up to Nottingham. I was travelling up to Leicester, and they were on the train going from Wigston up to Leicester and then changing. And I said to one of them, I was explaining a bit about the numerology and how it works with football. And I said to them, it's rigged, don't you? And they said, yeah. I thought, well, why are you going to watch it then?
They're like wrestling, isn't it?
So that's a bit like, I don't know, I don't know, watching Formula One and knowing who's going to win, but you still go anyway because it's just hilarious. My friend at work, he decodes, he links a lot of the events that take place to like football and sport and in general. And like, for example, with the World Cup, the belief is that it'll either be Holland or Portugal that will win, because Portugal will link to Jota, who was killed in a ritual, should we say, and he was Portuguese, I believe. And the other one that links to it is the bus and tram crash in Nottingham, where the bus was route branded for Orange Route, and one of the few teams that plays Orange is Holland. Yeah.
When was this crash?
The Nottingham crash was February, March time this year.
Okay. I didn't hear about it. I don't watch the news, so I'm a little bit behind with current affairs and what have you.
It was in Beeston in Nottingham, which seems to feature a lot in both the one in the Beeston in Chester and the Beeston in Nottingham. Both seem to feature a lot in rail accidents.
And I mean, there is. I mean, did you say one of your mates decodes sporting events? Because there are a few people on the internet, not many mind, who actually do that kind of thing using gematria. Yeah.
There's even things down to like the Euro Millions as well. That links to events that take place beforehand. And I reckon with a bit of gematria and a bit of numerology, it could be possible to work out what the numbers will be. But obviously not that easy.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the occult, which is essentially the word for the viewers who weren't aware, it means hidden, and it relates to it really relates to kind of hidden knowledge revolving around an esoteric or metaphysical theme. But gematria, numerology, tarot, Kabbalah, these are all occult aspects of the occult sciences which help to explain esoteric values. And if we understand the hidden laws, I mean, I'll talk quite often about natural law. Natural law incorporates hidden laws and hidden values, which still have a determination on the quality and well-being of the physical reality that we live in. And if we don't understand them or we ignore them, well, that doesn't mean that these things go away. It just means that we find ourselves unarmed on a spiritual battlefield. And this is where we as the human species need to raise our consciousness. And consciousness is about awareness. And if we raise our awareness on things that we find either distasteful, uncomfortable, or hard to believe, well, that doesn't make us correct in that determination. It makes us incorrect. And if we're incorrect, well, we are unarmed and underprepared on this battlefield. So this is part and parcel of some of the knowledge and survival skills that we need to address as well.
Well, now, what I was going to say is Alice Gorgeous was very concerned. She says, Eric, can you make the thumbnail smaller so I can see your handsome faces better? So, I'm taking handsome tablets. So, hello, Alice. Wait, so it's.
Is anyone of you working for you both then?
Oh dear.
You look 10 years younger now, Chris. You only look about 50 now.
That's it. That's better, you know.
Bit of brasso.
A bit El Brasso. Yeah, but anyway, changing the subject rapidly on, I had a surprise this evening before coming on air. I looked into my mailbox, and Yuki Brown has kindly purchased a buy me a coffee for me. So thank you, Yuki. Yay!
Top lad.
Coffee there. And I don't know. Yuki could be female, could be male. I don't know, Yuki. So thank you very much, Yuki. It's very much appreciated. And as I say, I hope you don't mind me saying this out on air. And also, you bought me another coffee a little while ago as well. So that's good. Now, on a side note, before we get onto the main show, that is about a farmer. And I'll try and show it on the screen if I can. Let's see if I can. Hang on a minute. Hang on. Diddly bonky blonky blonky blues. Let's get back here. See if I can show it on the screen. Might be able to. No. Window. That's the one. Share. See if that comes on. Not sure if it's is it on there. Let's have a quick look. Yes, it is on there. I don't know if you can read this or not, but I'll read it out if you can't read it, if it's too small. Posting in case anyone would like chickens. Urgent, please share, copy and paste. And this is on my Telegram channel. And it says, forwarding to anyone who might be interested. Dear all, this is a cry for help on behalf of some seriously brilliant laying Burford brown hens. Richard Corbett has 6,000 feathered friends, free range, that have to be culled on Sunday, July the 5th, purely because these are the rules when supplying Waitrose, M&S, etc. with eggs. I'm on a mission to try and find as many homes as possible for as many hens as possible. Even if it's only for 1 or 10 hens, we already have 5 of his brood and they lay 5 eggs a day, which is completely fabulous. So if you have it in your heart to save a few feathered lives, then please add your name to the list and return to me. The collection date, which has to be adhered to, is July the 5th. That's when they're going to be culled, I think. They should be collected from Richard Corbett at Dean Farmhouse, Binley, near St Mary Bourne, Hampshire. And the telephone number is 07881 783206. I will read that again. 07881 783206. And I think what I'll do is I will copy that and put that along the bottom. And
Chris, just to add on to that a sec, there's a charity called Red Hen Rehoming, and they go out to farms and collect X amount of hens for rehoming. They're ex-battery hens. It might be worth putting that individual in contact with them as well, because they'll go out and they'll literally take vans out with them and go and collect as many hens as they possibly can.
That's interesting.
Red Hen Rehoming.
Right, hang on. I'll just add this to chat. So it's Red Hen Rehoming. So that's a good one. Thank you. I'll just write that down. So it's red. What about if they're white? Because you do get white chickens, don't you? Red.
They have to get painted first.
Oh, I see. Or you dip them in bleach.
Yeah.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
When they turn up in the van, they've got one van has got Dulux paint in them, so they paint all the hens red.
Well, I had a girlfriend that got some what they call rescue hens from battery farms, and when they came along, they're all scraggy. And when they opened the cage, they're all sort of like this, and she fattened them up and sort of looked after them. And the poor sods are in a terrible state. But so that's Red Hen. What's that? Red Hen. I've written it down.
Red Hen Rehoming. I'll check, make sure it's still
Right,
legit.
Okay, thanks, mate. I'll send that back to her. Now, if you want to see this for yourself, it's on my hang on a minute, Telegram channel. So if that's my Telegram channel there, so if you go on there, you'll see it posted on there, and you'll find out more details. I don't know who posted that up. Somebody posted it on that channel. So if you're looking for some hens, I mean, I know the square root will get about square root of nothing about chickens. All I know is they got 2 legs and feathers and lay eggs, and that's about it. That's my total
They're easy
knowledge.
to look after. They look after themselves. But did you see on the news the other day about that bloke they'd found 20 dead chickens by the side of a road?
Really?
The police reckon there was foul play. Yeah. That took a while, didn't it?
It certainly took a while, but I tell you so, if you want to phone that number, there's the number on the bottom of the screen there. So if you want to phone the farmer and say, "I'd like some chickens, please." The trouble is, you see, the only place I could house them is in my bike shed, and they'd shit all over my bikes, wouldn't they? Really, it's like the old saying, isn't it? Show me a home where the buffalo roam, and I'll show you a house full of cow shit.
Yeah, there's definitely foul play at work, though.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate. Go on, Paul.
No, I was going to say, once you've got them, they're fairly easy to look after, as long as if you've got a coop for them to be in. I know I've mentioned this before when you had the Greg on.
Yeah.
Give them a home, as long as they know where the coop is. They'll sort themselves out in the pecking order. You need more than one. Obviously, one on its own is no good. You need a few. They'll sort their pecking order out, and you'll have eggs every day. They sort of peter off in the winter time, but you need to get little bricks and stuff like that for the shells and things like that. They're easy enough to look after.
Really, and I mean, if I made a little coop for them, I don't know if I could knock one up before the 5th of July. I mean, I'd have to make my garden secure so they don't wander off into my neighbours' gardens, which I don't think they'd be too pleased about. And they don't fly. I mean, do they? I know they can jump up. They might be able to jump over the wall and get sort of splattered down the lane.
They can jump higher than you think, but once they know where home is and the food is, they'll stay where they are. I mean, it depends on how tall the fence is between you and your neighbours. I mean, if it's like, a couple of feet, they'll jump over that. 6 foot? Nah, they won't get over that.
The other thing is that, I mean, pecking order, do they sometimes have an outcast where they say, "I don't want you," and don't piss off, sort of thing?
They'll pick on the weakest. They'll have a pecking order, so you'll have the top hen, and you'll have the one at the bottom, and that one will probably get pecked quite a lot, to be fair. But then if the top hen then dies, the pecking order changes again, and they're funny to watch. I mean, they're worth watching, just having them, just to enjoy watching them, because my ex-partner, she kept hens, and we had one called Henny, original name I know, and one called Blinky, and Blinky was the bottom of the pecking order, and Henny would have moments where she'd get pissed off with something, run around and go and attack Blinky for no other reason other than she can. They're brilliant to watch. Very entertaining.
I think do they attack humans? I mean, if you're feeding them, I mean, do they attack you at all? I mean, can they peck you?
Not the females. Unless if you get a broody hen, stay well clear.
I reckon you'd be able to handle yourself, Eric.
Yeah, and with all those ladies. Trouble is, I get very upset about them shitting all over my bike. So that'd be the only trouble. We'd have to wipe off a load of chicken shit before I go for a ride on my bike. All over my saddle.
Well, if you want good fertilizer, chicken poo is one of the best you'll find.
Yes.
But also, if you've got any cherished plants in your garden, they won't be there for very much longer because they'll eat the ball.
Yeah. Speaking of, no, you started, Eric.
No, carry on, mate. Come on. Sorry, what was you going to say, Steve?
Okay, well, I was going to say, speaking of chickens, it would be worthwhile mentioning Mark Barr with the Coop Files, as in the chicken coop, who does some great talks on the occult and natural law on his Telegram channel, the Coop Files, and you've had him as a guest a couple of weeks back. You may recall. Yeah, he was on with me on one of a Sunday night show, I think.
Oh,
from the Northeast, he is Mark Barr.
I remember now. Yeah. Well, yes. Thanks for that's pretty good. And also, we got a plug. Whilst you're going over to Telegram, see my channel, you might as well flip over and see Steve's channel, which is Survive the Apocalypse with Steve. So we've had a poll, haven't we? We've had a let's be a bit carry on camping, shall we? We've had our poll up, haven't we? Sorry. and we let's have a quick shifty at the old poll, shall we? Where are we? Here we are. Now see you somewhere. And it's quite. Thank you very much for hello, very much for voting. You see, Now, top. Shall we say what the bottom of the list was? Was the meaning of life. Only 3% wanted to know what the meaning of life
Oh
is.
yeah, why would you want to know that?
Yes.
We don't need to depress ourselves.
And on the next one was the tarot system with only 11%, the apocalypse with only 11%, and
We're already in it.
They're already in it. With 14%, the Matrix is real. 18%. Matrix is real. 14%. Asymmetric warfare. Steve, what the bleeding hell is that?
Asymmetric
What's
warfare.
asymmetric
That's
warfare? When
yeah, that's kind of part and parcel about what the apocalypse is all about, i.e., the modern warfare, which is engaged in human society. That's just it's a take on modern aspects of warfare. But I'm only going to tell 14% of people what that means. So everybody else.
First day, which was my vote. That's it.
All right.
Well, it's down to 12% because you've already told me, haven't you? So that's down to less. And first day, which was my vote, and he got bloody 14% of the vote. Miserable sods.
Well, everybody else better stay safe.
And of course, 5% and 18% was the occult. The grey man principle. Is that sort of dressing to blend into the background? You know, like sort of.
Yeah, you're on the right lines. Yeah, it's kind of becoming unremarkable and maintaining a presence in order to conduct whatever operational task you might be needed to perform in what could be called the grey zone, which is the transitional area between normal day-to-day life and a place under occupation or a condition of warfare.
Well, there was a Canadian bloke once, I don't know whether you'd agree with this, and he said, whatever you do, if you plan to blend in a cityscape, don't wear camouflage clothes, you'll stick out like a sore thumb. I think he was right on that one. Bug out plans. That's it. So bug out plans. And then 21% said, where are we? 21% said self-defense.
Okay.
And survival. And the winner was with 25% is preparedness.
Yay.
So what that poll tells us is, well, any of those.
It was all fairly close.
It's all very close, wasn't it? So I think a bit of everything. And, what to do if you ever meet a Keir Starmer. I would recommend not bending down doing your shoelaces up. That would be the first thing not to do. And also you've got the Occult Academy. You carry on.
Just to quickly add on what I was saying before, it's RHRUK is the Red Hen rehoming. rhruk.org.uk.
RHR. Thanks, mate. I'll just write that down in my chock-a-block diary. So what is it?
They'll be able to retire if they take all 66,000 birds. Or if that was that the
they won't be able to get in the house if they got that many.
Even Dash been a statement. What was that? Can you repeat that again, Paul? I'm terribly sorry. It's
RHRUK. RHRUK.org.uk.
I guess they're a charity, are they, or something like that? Or
they are, yeah.
You know, oh, good. You know, they're doing good. I mean, and do they give training? You know, do they come around and assess your property before they come along? And they say, "I'm serious, you can't stick these chickens in your bike shed because they're going to shit all over the place and things like that."
They don't train the chickens, no. They don't train the chickens, no.
No. I mean, I guess you can buy these hen places because when they drop their eggs, you got to have somewhere for them because they're smash all on the floor when they say,
they need a nest. They need nest box. The coop would be the nest box. So Steve, I'm not trying to take over your glory here. So each day you'd go out and clear the shit out of the coop. Basically, that needs to be done every
They do
day.
actually that. Oh, dear.
Once
Yeah.
they're out, they'll stay out until sunset, and then they'll work their way back in. What else can I say to you? That if there's things that you need to do, sometimes you might need to put, like if they get an injury, if one of them gets an injury on them, the others will continuously peck it. So you get some purple spray, and you spray that on. For some reason, the chickens can't see that, and that then stops them pecking. They can be quite horrible creatures
Vicious
sometimes,
little
because they are.
bastards, aren't they?
They can be. If you've got sparrows, if you've got frogs, if you've got anything that's within eating size, they'll eat it.
Really?
Honestly.
Snails, if it's snails, I've got plenty of bleeding snails. I mean,
they'll
they'd
eat
be on
snails.
Weight Watchers.
They eat snails. Snails and slugs, no problem whatsoever.
Slugs,
Yeah,
lovely,
slugs,
lovely.
yeah.
So really, when you think about it, that goes through their system. So you eventually, when they eat their eggs, they're eating snails and slugs that are made up in their eggs.
I've got visions here, Chris, that by this time next week, that room's going to be full of chickens.
No.
when you check on Jeremy and everywhere, there'll be chickens everywhere.
Well, someone around here's got a cockerel, because the bleeding thing, I heard it this morning. Oh, I don't know where it is. Someone's got a cockerel around here. That's the trouble.
Well,
if you've got a cockerel, the bleeding thing wakes everyone up in the morning.
Well, the female ones obviously don't. They still do that. They'll do the egg call every day. So when one of them lays, they'll do an egg call, and that's pretty much it. They're fairly quiet for the most part, apart from alarm calls. If there's a buzzard or something like that, they'll do their particular call. Anyhow, sorry, Steve. This was your show, not mine.
No, it's all interesting
hello,
stuff.
Evening, Nuki, and yes, and yeah, that is interesting. I've learned a lot about chickens. So before this show, I only knew that they had 2 legs, they shit, and they produce eggs. Now I know a little bit more about chickens.
They're very entertaining.
Not to put them in the bike shed. Really?
If you get some little bantams, little tiny bantams, when they run around, they look like they should have a radio control with them. They're just brilliant. I'd advise anyone, if you're on YouTube at some point, have a search for little bantam hens. They're the cutest thing you'll ever find. They'll sit.
Oh, they've got them at the farm.
They're small, fit in the palm of your hand. Yeah.
Yeah, little tiny little fellas. I don't know if they get. I suppose they lay very small eggs today, or.
Yeah.
Must have.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so it's sort of but I mean, I guess you have to lock them in at night because the foxes might get to them.
Yeah. Make sure a wire mesh thing with a fox would get through. But if you've got a proper wooden coop, the fox won't get in unless you give him the key. Obviously, then he will.
Yeah. So, and also, are they like the mafia? You know, do they say if you don't feed us, like, you know, you've got a very nice car out there, and we might just shit on it. You know what I mean? It might acid in our shit might upset the paintwork. Get our drift. You know, we don't want that cheap Tesco shit. We want some real quality food, if you don't mind. You know,
they'll eat anything. I'll tell you what, they do like sweet corn, little tins of sweet corn. They love that. And fresh sweet corn from your farms. If you got a farm shop nearby, the corn on the cob, chuck one of them out, and they'll be your best mates forever.
Yes, yeah, that's interesting. So if I suffer from corn on my cob, I'll remember that. So
just
anyway,
don't go outside with it if you got chickens. I'll pack it for you.
I feel a bit peckish, you know. No, they're aggressive little sods. I feel less mean about eating them. So there we go.
If you're planning on eating them, don't give them names, because the last thing you want to do is say, "Oh, we're going to have Henrietta for tea tonight."
Yes, that would be a bit sad, wouldn't it? Yes. But now, on with the show. Now, Steve, where are you going to go with the old survival stuff? You know, so or first aid? I don't know. So where we going this evening? It's going to be interesting.
Do you know what? Well, why not? Let's start with the chickens, because and you know, I don't know where this is going to then lead us to in terms of survival, but obviously the chickens are looking at a demise to their survival. That in itself, and we talked about Satanism earlier. I mean, if we are purposefully killing creatures for ridiculous reasons, such as these things are laying the wrong color eggs, so therefore there's been some legislation or act of parliament or whatever it is, or some decision from above that's decided that these chickens have to go. Well, this is what the satanic mind is all about. So, and this is why we need to understand evil in all its forms, simply because killing creatures like that is just absolutely abhorrent. It's unnecessary. It's needless. It's inhumane. If we are a species who qualify or count ourselves as being human beings, well, human and inhumane is a recipe for disaster. And this is why the world's facing further tyranny. Why? Because we listen to imbeciles who call themselves the government, who come up with, or authorities who come up with these kind of conditions, regulations, legislations, laws, decrees, whatever you want to call it. Nobody has the right to make these mandates. That this right does not exist in nature. And if we continue to follow and pursue the decrees of government and authority, well, this is what we've got to tolerate, and we'll be forever scratching our heads wondering why the world sucks. Why? Because we're too dumb to do something about it. I mean, this Farmer Pickles, for example, this is where people need to start taking what's known as right action. So right action is the process of following moral principles, truth and principle, to its physical means. That means, why is he even tolerating listening to what he's being told to, when it's an illegitimate and unlawful, ungodly command? People need to start saying no to these complete cretins. But in terms of survival, I've brought a list of things. I don't know what you can see on the screen.
Interesting.
But I've got a load of things in the background, simply because when I was watching the polls, it looked as if preparedness was one of the possibly the item that was going to be kind of had the most votes, I guess. So,
I'll say from my view here, the thing that's directly behind you with the purple label on looks like a bottle of bleach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what? All right. What can you see that list, by the way? Is that shown up? In fact,
I can't read it.
Oh, no problems. Well, I'll start off with that, because when we talk about preparedness,
it's also about face. It's also about face on the screen.
Oh wow!
But the brain works well enough to be able to pick that up anyway.
Well, that's weird. Well, for those who can't read backwards, I do apologise, but this is the
still backwards.
Survival. Yeah, well, you're gonna have to. You get the idea.
Yeah.
So the 7 survival
observation
priorities.
Course. Sorry, number 1 rule of survival: learn to read things backwards. All right, so here we go. So the second rule of survival. Sorry, you're going to say, Steve.
There are like guidelines in the survival arena, and one simple list to remember is the 7 survival priorities. Most people will instinctively know this because we pretty much do it on a day-to-day basis. But if we find ourselves trapped in the wilderness or in any other survival predicament, think along the lines of these priorities, and then we can use that to formulate a cunning plan, or we can use it to formulate what kind of level or equipment we can use for our preparedness strategy. So we've got shelter, water, fire, food, navigation, signaling, and medical or first aid. So you could also incorporate an 8th principle to that, which is often or not often discussed, and that principle could be qualified as self-defense or self-protection. And I think that might be an important one as exactly an important one as the apocalypse is in full swing. So self-defense as well. Again, these aren't hard and fast rules. They're in no particular order. The order of these priorities is only dictated by the situation you find yourself in. So, for example, if you're in the desert, it's pointless trying to build, a giant fire to keep warm. You need to do something to keep cool, and you need to find water, etc., etc. And again, the rule of common sense applies there.
That's interesting. I've got to ask you a question now, though.
Sure.
Now, the new idea, so years ago when I went camping when I was a young lad, that you just put a tent up and that's it. But now there seems to be on the internet, they put a tent up and then they put tarpaulin over the top. So you've got a tent within a tent and this tarpaulin. So if it wee-wees with rain, you can then get out of your tent and make a cup of tea and things like that. What's your view of the tarpaulin idea? I mean, I would have thought it'd been flap. I mean, they pull it tight so it doesn't flap around in the wind. But have you tried it? I mean, I haven't tried it. I mean, what's your view of it?
Yeah, I've done that. I mean, I don't tend to use tents a great deal. I will if I'm in mountainous regions, depending on the weather, of course. But I tend to just use something along the lines of a tarpaulin. Again,
Really?
depending on the weather as well. It's A, they're cheap. B, they're very quick to set up. C, you might struggle in some places to put a tent up, depending on where you are, what kind of terrain, etc. I mean, for example, try putting a tent up in deep snow. That's quite difficult, and you need special tent pegs. And if you ain't got them, your tent's just going to collapse. So there is pros and cons to both. But if you're prepared to carry the extra weight of a tarpaulin on top of your tent, then crack on. It's not a bad idea.
That's interesting. And also, what about bivy bag sort of tents? Because I've always had a fair size type tent, but they're very expensive. These bivy bag tents, really bloody expensive for and you see these cheapo tents for about 20 quid or 15 quid, made in China. That'll probably last about 3 hours, I suppose, or 20 minutes if you put it up. Probably ripped to buggery, But so really, I suppose in many ways, tarpaulin is better. Anyway, because you have a ground sheet and the tarpaulin over the top and a couple of post rods, and there we go. And as long as you got the old, what do you call it? What's that?
Use things like sleeping bag. Do you put carry a sleeping bag on? Because I presume that if you're under a tarpaulin sheet, there's going to be breezes getting in. So do you carry something like a sleeping bag with you to climb into?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, if I'm camping, I mean, I've literally camped out thousands of times, sleeping under the stars. But if I sleep under a tarpaulin or what's known as a basher, which is basically just a waterproof sheet of whatever size or description, then I would usually use a sleeping bag in conjunction with a waterproof outer bag. So something called a Gore-Tex bivy bag. Which is basically just a cover for a sleeping bag, but it helps to keep the sleeping bag dry, which obviously is a little bit of more of a risk if you're sleeping, with just a plastic sheet over the top. So, I'd definitely go for that option as well.
There's a chap on the YouTube called Transient Kiwi, and he's actually in North Africa now. I think he's in Morocco, and he prefers tarpaulin because he lets the air through. You see, the problem with tents is you get a lot of condensation, but with tarpaulin you don't, because it's open either end, so you've got plenty of wind, air blasting through. But it's the cold weather that's the problem. But I mean, when it comes to sleeping bags, I mean, what type of sleeping bags? I mean, are the army surplus ones any good, or the ones you go in? Was it go outdoors? That's the big shop that they sell stuff in. But is there any particular make that is bloody good, or is it just pick a mix, whatever you?
I often advocate, even though I slag the military off, some of the kit's actually pretty good. I mean, it's obviously designed to be fairly bomb-proof, and it's reasonably, you can pick things up reasonably cheaply if you're prepared to have second-hand or potentially camouflaged gear in amongst your kit. Again, if that's not an issue, then go for it, because you can save a lot of money and get some reasonably good kit as a result. A lot of the kit I use, obviously, I spent quite a lot of years in the army, so I've got a lot of kind of army kit, stuff that would be classed as army surplus kit, which I still use simply because it's dependable, it's hard wearing, it's very good as far as I'm concerned. It's not everyone's cup of tea, however.
Just on that subject of sleeping, I presume that, I mean, for me being asthmatic, I'd have to be very conscious of sleeping on like a damp field, for example, which would then trigger off the asthma. Is that something that you have to be very conscious of, and where you actually? Because obviously, come winter, if you're in the winter time, the chances are most nights will be damp, there'll be fog or frost or similar weather conditions, which I guess, in particular with fog, you can't really avoid it, no matter what you do, even if in a tent, it's still going to find its way in. Is that a bit of a risk that you end up getting cold and damp and ill? If that's the right word.
I mean, I can't say for myself, or for if you've got an asthmatic condition which is triggered by the dampness, I don't know what the remedy is to work around that. I've never kind of had that problem, so I can't speak with firsthand. But I mean, I've slept under bushes, in cattle barns, all sorts of places which have been relatively uncomfortable. Cold is something I've kind of, it's not a pleasant experience, but I tend to carry a very lightweight sleeping bag even in winter. Certainly when I was conducting army operations or exercises, I would use what would be termed a jungle sleeping bag, i.e. it's designed for jungle environments, not kind of Scottish Highlands or cold weather. But I've used it in cold weather, even freezing temperatures. And obviously it's very cold, but you've got the added advantage of it's less weight to carry than bigger and warmer alternatives. But again, I don't necessarily recommend that option. It's wise to have a good working knowledge of the kit and equipment that's available and the temperatures and weather conditions that you're going to be operating in.
And also, you were super fit. You still are super fit in the army. You're fit, which you wouldn't notice the cold so much because you're fit. You're probably marching, and that type of thing.
I was going to say one of the biggest reasons you didn't really notice the cold so much is because if you were lucky, you got more than 2 hours sleep. But generally, it's 2 hours sleep. On a good night, you're getting 4 hours sleep. So
really,
you ain't got time to get cold.
I suppose you're right there. But I'll tell you another one. What about going on eBay and buying a second-hand sheepskin coat, real sheepskin coat? You mean, I guess some nice people following you around from the 70s, yeah. But quite honestly, you put that over you, that'll keep you bleeding warm, wouldn't it? A real sheepskin coat. But trouble is, it's the weight of carrying it. That's the only downside.
Especially if it's still attached to the sheep.
We're not talking about New Zealanders again, are we? But Exo said, what's the difference between that and a bivouac? I suppose he means
it's essentially the same thing. Bivouac just implies somebody sleeping out in a makeshift shelter. So plastic sheets. I still pretty much my go-to option is what the British Army currently use, which is a nylon sheet about 3 meters by 2 meters. It's fairly hefty. It's fairly thick. It's not the lightest sheet available, but you can pick them up for about 25 quid, and they're pretty bomb-proof. And you can drag it through thorns and make a stretcher out of it, and all sorts of things. So again, it's not a great deal of money for a very simple and versatile option.
How much did you say? I missed the price. What, 25 quid did you say, or something? Or
yeah, about 25 quid.
It's not bad. It's not bad. And ounce, yeah, carry on, mate.
Sorry, I was going to say,
That's okay.
if you like with jungle camping, obviously I'm not planning to do that, but I presume if you were camping I presume you must have been in jungles at some point during your time as in the military. Do you have to watch every plant you sort of walk past in case it's something that's going to either give you the shits or kill you basically, because I presume pretty much everything in a jungle is going to kill you in some way, shape, or form.
You're part of the food chain.
I was never that kind of observant over what kind of plants I'm stepping on. Obviously, one thing, again, I'm not advocating for the army at all here, but the army are very good at kind of showing people how to operate and survive in various regions. So before going to, let's just say, the jungle, for example, we'd probably receive some sort of training on hazards to expect. That could be plants, spiders, snakes, creatures, and weather conditions as well. And equally, what kind of plants are edible and what kind of hazards are out there that's going to cause you harm. Speaking of plants, by the way, I'm drinking today. This is lemon balm and mugwort tea. So mugwort is very common in the UK. Mugwort is what they used to make beer out of, but it's again, I'm not suggesting that anybody goes out and tries this stuff unless you positively identify things. But mugwort grows everywhere, waste areas, and it makes a very drinkable tea. Apparently, it's also good for lucid dreaming as well. So
I'll enjoy that, then. Yeah, and was it that book by Food? There's a little book you can get, isn't there, which you can actually the things, you know. But now Aunt Alice Gorgeous says a hammock and a sleeping bag is useful for in the woods. Am I right in saying that in the winter it's better to camp in the woods than anywhere else because it's just slightly warmer in the woods than it is, say, in the middle of a field, because the trees sort of act as a kind of insulation? I don't know whether that's true or not.
To be honest, I think it's a bit of a mixed bag, because I've been in woodland and it's been absolutely bitter cold compared to being outside of the woodland. So, it's not always as easy as you think. And again, sometimes it depends. There's a temperature inversion. So if you're on higher ground and there's a bit of a lower ground, well, sometimes the lower ground is distinctly colder than the marginally higher ground as well. So there is lots of different things to bear in mind. So I guess it's a case of suck it and see, or bitter experience is going to answer that.
There's a lot of plonkers on the internet who think they know what they're doing, but you know that you see them sort of driving off. You see their 4x4s in the background and luxury caravans, and they say, "Well, I've got to sleep out all night." No, they're not. They're going to get in their luxury caravan. So, Haji says, "I don't blame them. You'd need an Arctic sleeping bag in this country for winter." It's cold.
It's a good point, you know.
Sorry, Steve. Go on.
It's a good point simply because don't scrimp on things that are going to keep you comfortable. So that's kind of my advice. So yeah, get the best sleeping bag you can carry on. You can always unzip it if it's too hot.
Also told, we're advised never to camp out in a field if the moon's out, because the moon produces cold air. Whereas in a wooded area, you'd be in the shade, as it were, so it should be marginally warmer.
Now, Exo says, in Venture Scouts, we were not allowed to call our rucksacks. It was another name. I forget it. But they were really strict on that rule. So there we go. I didn't know that. So you learn something every day. And Alice Gorgeous asked if Hachi is ex-army. So, you know, you never know. He might be. And Exo says, Bergens to you, mate, and all. Really? What, Bergens from Burgundy? Bergens. Oh, they're a kit bag, aren't they? Bergens?
Bergens, military term for a rucksack. So I don't know if that's what the Venture Scouts use, but that's the expression we use, Bergens.
Yeah. Well,
from Bergen in Norway.
Yeah, mind you, the modern Venture Scouts go down the red light district, don't they? Yes, join the Venture Scouts for an adventure. It certainly will be.
Here's your girl guide.
Well, when I came to a certain age, my dear old dad took me to one side and he said, "Remember this, son, Boy Scouts and Girl Guides, and you won't go far wrong." Think about it. He didn't actually. And sorry.
No, go for it.
But no, I was going to say. So we found out we tied up the tarpaulin thing. Trouble is how to stop it flapping if it's windy to keep it throughout the night. But I suppose condensation. I mean, like a lot of people sleep in their cars, but the condensation, you've got to keep the windows open. It'd be bloody enormous in the morning because we give off a heck of a lot of moisture, and that is the big problem. You look in the winter. Heating and ventilation, that's why it's such a scientific thing, because we are literally walking moisture giver outers sort of thing,
Well, the thing is, and I'm going to lower the tone just briefly, that if you slept in your car, and let's assume the night before you'd had excessive amounts of baked beans, I wouldn't like to be the cop who comes and knocks on the window the following morning.
Or someone with a cigarette. Now, Blu-ray says, Nomad Sam. I follow him. He lives outdoors all year round. That's right. Yeah, Nomad Sam. Yeah, he's quite interesting, actually. He lives, lives on his own. But there's also the Kiwi that's going down to Africa.
Yeah.
He's going to cycle down to Africa. I'd rather him than me, actually. Certain parts of Africa, I don't think I'd like to cycle through. And then we got, was it sheepskin is absorbent in wet weather? That's Hachi. Oh dear. Okay, bin that idea then. So now I go camping. This is answer. I go camping every year, and my first time was at the age of 60. I use a normal sleeping bag and take a heavy coat and blankets with me. I always use at least the coat and bed socks. And now this is a kinky one from Exo. He's got a question here because he's got it in capital letters. Is it true survival reality that it's better to sleep naked in a few bin liners? Hang on. Where's this going? With another naked person than on your own? Are we going down to Keir Starmer land? Then on your own in a sleeping bag or in a haystack, etc., etc. I don't think no. I don't really want to go there. Thank you very much. No.
I'd imagine sleeping in a bin liner would be very sweaty and horrible. To be quite honest with you, that's not from experience, by the way. It's just my opinion.
It doesn't. It matter. It matter. I would go down that route if it was Miss World I was sleeping with. That'd be very nice, wouldn't it? Or some attractive lady.
Bin liner with her.
Sleep in a bin liner with her. Keep it nice and warm, wouldn't it? Unless she's got a headache. That's the only trouble. Or got a headache. So I take plenty of headache tablets with me just in case.
And then you rolled over and fell out of bed.
Well, it's like the milkman that swerved to avoid a child, and he fell out of bed, didn't he? Sorry.
Dear me. Is it worth looking at some kit and equipment?
Yeah, have a look at some kit. We need to look at some kit. Sorry, I've been wandering off here about tarpaulins and sleeping naked in bin bags.
I mean, I've brought just a random selection of different things, like show and tell items. Because if people are interested in preparedness, well, preparedness begins at home, so to speak, because that's where most people kind of spend most of their time. So preparedness usually incorporates having items and resources which are going to see you through some sort of turbulent time, whether that's some sort of emergency or disaster, or you could even say the totalitarian Agenda 30 New World Order dystopia that we're all kind of entering into. So, it pays to have some degree of preparation, even if it's just marginal preparation. It's better than no preparation, because as they say, there's something called the 7 Ps, which is proper planning and preparation prevents a piss poor performance. So if we can kind of work to that principle and use what we've got and add to it to see us through a time of crisis, then we will put ourselves in a better position and we can become more resilient. And that's the big takeaway. If we've got things that are going to help us with our day-to-day existence, then we become more capable and adaptable to the situation as individuals. So to that end, we've talked about the 7 priorities of survival, if you like. And obviously, when we talk about preparations, probably the most common factor is food. So most people will talk about preparing, stockpiling food. So to that end, I would definitely recommend that, if nothing else, that we keep our kitchen cupboards well supplied and try not to, once we start to use items, make sure that that stock is replenished. And that's probably the easiest way to keep that survival prepping mentality. And that's another big takeaway is about having this as a workable sort of everyday facet of life. This is how we kind of go about our lives, is just by having that fortitude of mind to make sure that we're well stocked at all times.
I guess the thing with that, Steve, as well, is it's better to have. I mean, I've got tins of mackerel, and I know it's probably still full of crap like anything else, but tins of mackerel, tins of jars with peanut butter in, things that you don't need a heating element to before you can actually eat them, because obviously that may be a bit of a tricky situation if you've got no electricity or gas or
massively.
Whereas things like beans, like the kidney beans and stuff like that, I've got loads of them over here somewhere there.
Yeah, massively. If we can do things with the minimal of cooking or no cooking, even better. But obviously, it does pay to have some means of cooking, because we may have to boil water or treat food or heat food up, even if it's just for morale. So to that end and purpose, let me introduce the first item, which you saw earlier, Paul, which is methylated spirits. Now, there are other types of cooking fuel available, but this is just one example. It's relatively cheap and relatively efficient. It's not particularly quick to use, but if all you had to cook something with, I mean, obviously most people have got a pan at home. If you've got an old, let's just say your tin of mackerel, once you've eaten that, you can actually use that to pour your methylated spirits in and use that as a very basic Tommy cooker, so you can heat up a saucepan with food contents in it, just using fuel. Obviously, you've got to take care you don't spill it, and use it in a ventilated area and all those good things.
Where'd you get it so big, such a huge container of that? I mean, the only place I can get methylated spirits is Toolstation. They do sort of like half-litre bottles. It's expensive buying it that way. But you're lucky to get that. I mean, did you get it from a hardware store or online? I would have thought you got it online.
Yeah, online. I think a container, like a 5-litre container, was around about £15 to £20. But I use that for some of my camping cookers. So obviously it's part of my preparation. So I keep a reasonable supply of that. Then speaking of cooking, sorry, mate, go on.
I was going to say, I use a primer stove. Seriously.
Oh, brilliant.
I still use a primer stove, which is 1939 it was built.
Excellent.
I know, because I can tell by the number on
What
the
do you use for fuel?
Sorry.
What fuel do you use?
I use paraffin, but you use methylated spirits in the top to start it off. So you need two fuels in many ways. But I'm going to experiment with cotton wool covered in Vaseline instead of the methylated spirits, because as soon as you get you got to get this, you got to get that very, very hot at the top for the old. You pump it and then it'll start.
Well, on a similar level, this is another. It's similar to a primer stove. I forget what this is called, to be honest. I can't remember. Coleman's, Coleman's. I tend to use Coleman's fuel in these things because it's more efficient. It's a little bit costly, I find. It's about 20 quid a litre nowadays. It's proper expensive. But these are very these are very good. They'll last for ages. They'll give off some great heat. They're quite expensive, to be fair. But if we want or one thing we need to consider, just like Paul said, it's one thing having all this food, but if you've got no means of cooking it because the electric's off or the gas is off, then we're snookered. So it's definitely worth having some form of additional camping cooker of whatever description. I mean, I've got this on top of the methylated spirits as one option. So again, it's about...
So does that run on methylated spirits? You pour the methylated spirits in and it runs on meth?
It would probably work at a pinch, but I probably wouldn't use methylated spirits. I tend to use Coleman's fuel, but they can burn other forms of fuel. It's like a multi-fuel thing, so liquid fuels.
And does it light itself, or do you need a match to light it with, or a light, or a...
No, you need a lighter or a match, yeah.
But I find with a primer stove, they're a bastard to start. I mean, if there's a little gentle breeze, it's just practice that makes perfect. But, you need a primus pricker, no laughter, please, to make sure the nozzle is clean at the top. And then you don't pump it too much when it really is an art to start it. But bloody hell, when it's going, I mean, you boil water quicker than an electric.
Yeah, they are pretty good.
It really does.
So one other thing I kind of cater for, I mean, I've got a back garden, so I'm kind of lucky in that respect, but I've got a supply of wood, which, I keep a wood supply on, even though I haven't got a wood fire in the house, I use wood to potentially cook outside. So one thing I use for my outdoor cooking, if it came to it, is I've got a makeshift brick fire surround, you could say, and in the center of it, I've got an old steel car wheel. It looks a bit, cheap and chatty, but it works a trick, and I can burn wood on top of this steel car wheel, and I can rest pans, etc., using the brick hearth. So it's definitely, if you've got space outdoor in that kind of environment, it's definitely worth considering having a supply of wood, so you can either use it to keep warm or use it for cooking purposes.
I suppose with the car wheel as well, the steel part of it keeps the fire contained as well, so it's not sort of running away from you, if that's the right term, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Again,
that's interesting. Yes, so we got. Sorry, you're going to say, Steve, because there's a question come up in chat. But
please go for the question.
It says, if you want to make a fire to cook on, can you start a fire with flint or sticks, Steve?
I mean, both of
that's
right.
Planet.
Good question. I mean, both those techniques are possible, but it's not easy, and it certainly wouldn't be my kind of go-to option. I mean, this is why having the preparedness mindset is key, and always going prepared when venturing anywhere, to be honest, because without the equipment, people are going to massively struggle. I mean, you can light a fire using rubbing sticks together or using flint and steel, but both of those techniques are very challenging indeed. And if without training, practically impossible. So speaking of preparedness, by the way, or being prepared, I mean, I might have shown this before, but one thing I never literally leave the house without 3 key items, one of which is just a humble Swiss Army pocket knife, which is legal to carry in the UK because...
it's the Huntsman, is it?
Oh,
is it the Huntsman?
I'll be honest, I'm not sure.
Saw blade.
I don't know, but it's got a saw blade on, and it's all got...
Yeah.
It's got a blade which is not lock-in, and it's under 3 inches. So the kindly government who dictates how we live our lives won't allow anybody legally to carry a blade over 3 inches. I also carry a cigarette lighter, nothing fancy, a Bic lighter, but I'll wrap it in tape because when you tear the tape off, sticky tape makes a good source of ignition, so you can help get that fire started. Rather than rubbing sticks together. And I also carry a torch.
So I guess the thing with the rubbing of the sticks together, if you're living out in the countryside, let's take this, which you've been forced to go that route. I guess you want to keep as much of your energy back and not be using your energy to attempt to try and get a couple of sticks to light.
Yeah.
I suppose you want to keep as much of your energy back for surviving, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to get the right wood. It's got to be dry enough. You've got to have some means of creating the friction. So you need a hearth, you need a drill, you need a bow to, you need to carve some of these items. Again, it's if you get everything right, you still may not have the tinder to light at the required stage of dryness, etc. So all of these things have to be, kind of right, the right ingredients at the right kind of stage in order to get a fire going by non sort of man-made means. So carry a lighter in your possession, save you a world of hurt.
That's a good idea. Well, the lighter is, I mean, I got free in Lidl's at the moment for 85 pence.
Yeah.
Bloody good bargain, that
so
is.
Especially guys, because you've got pockets in your jeans or whatever, stick a lighter in your pocket, stick a lighter and a pocket knife in your pockets. That's never go unprepared. One other, I've got several items like this. I've got little kits that I carry. So if I'm going outdoors, for example, doing a camping in the woods, I might carry a little pocket kit, which has got things like lighters. I've got pieces of string. I've got a little first aid dressing, a whistle, handkerchiefs, just little daft little things of niff-naff and trivia that's going to help you manage and to stay effective when you're out in nature, for example.
But then do you end up carrying tons and tons and tons of stuff? I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say there. Do you end up with that much stuff to carry that you think, well, do I need this? Do I need that? Do I need to take that with me? Do you end up with that much? It's virtually impossible to carry it all.
No, not particularly. I mean, you can let things spiral out of control, but I mean, if you think of things using I know that's back to front, but if you use the survival priorities as a guide, well, we're always, if we're going out or we're in a survival situation, there's always going to be a necessity to have some degree of shelter, whether it's shelter from the heat of the sun, shelter from the rain, shelter from cold weather. We'll always need some form of shelter. So if we've got something in our kit or possession that's going to cater for that priority, then again, it's not necessarily a luxury, it's a necessity. So, I mean, it's a fine balance. So you've got a good point, but again, experience and training will kind of help act as a guideline for anybody who wants to learn more and to avoid some of the mistakes that could be easily made. So I would definitely recommend that we test some of these, try out some of these techniques, some of these items of kit that we get, go on little safely conducted expeditions where we can learn how to use this equipment, what we need and what we don't need.
When camping, is there, when you say you go into a field that's surrounded by woods, that's what's usually a campsite's like, is there a particular not to do sort of thing? I mean, for example, I wouldn't camp near a river because all the flies and mosquitoes and things like that. But is there a sort of you sort of make a note of which way the wind's blowing and things like that? Is there little tips like that?
One sort of acronym I use is WWW, as in World Wide Web, and that means weather, water, and windfall. So weather, obviously, what's the weather doing? What's the weather likely to do? And is my shelter or my position going to be at the most advantageous point to protect me from the elements, i.e. the weather? If not, I need to do something to address that issue. Water, well, water is twofold. Water running through a stream or a river or a canyon or somewhere where water can suddenly come out of nowhere and you end up swimming in your sleeping bag. is not a good thing. So we need to be mindful of that. But we also need to be mindful that we need to be close enough to a source of water where we can collect it as required. But the third option is probably maybe the most pertinent in a way, because it revolves around windfall. And when I say windfall trees. So another term you could use is widowmaker. And I'm sure that people get the idea what that means is if a tree suddenly lands on top of your shelter or your tent, then, you know, it's good night Vienna. So you've got to be careful for that, especially in woodland. Trees fall all the time, so you've got to be careful for that.
Yes, I can imagine that. And there's a lot of people on the internet, like this Nomad Sam, who camped in woods all the time. And it's amazing, you know, in a storm and things like that, you see these trees.
Yeah.
It's a wonder nothing's fallen on his tent. I mean, you know, I've had stuff fall on my shed before now. You know, branches of trees and things like that. And after a storm.
Speaking of wind, can you see the logo there?
Yes, it's
Carrie Coit, which is
back to front.
All right. So that's what the place I go in Wales when I'm teaching survival is with this company, and then we have like a policy: if the wind's above 34 miles per hour or 34 knots, then we kind of take people out of the woodland so they're in a safer environment, because you know, the windfall with things like trees, like I say, it can spoil a good weekend, I guess. Sorry,
is it better? I guess logic would dictate you best identifying trees that are dead, which are more likely to drop branches and stuff off onto you, than presumably living trees will, for the most part, will be fairly secure.
There's a good point. It's not hard and fast rule, but you know, generally that's not a bad way of looking at things. Essentially, people have got to make their own kind of judgment, assessment, and appraisal of the area that they're going to camp before they go there. It's that tree. Bear in mind the tree could still be alive, but because of the soil it's growing in, it can still be dislodged with high winds. So again, people have got to kind of be mindful of that at the very least.
Now, EXO's got this thing about being naked and bin bags, but I suspect that putting the naked side about it, you'd actually get warm then because you get arrested. So you spend a nice warm evening all night in the cell. So there we go. There's a point. But bin bags. What's your view of bin bags? I remember going camping once, and a friend of mine was so cold he put a bin bag on. Absolutely soaked.
So that's a good point.
He can't breathe.
So let me go back to these items of kit, right? So I've already showed you that wherever I'm going, I'll tend to carry a wallet with the 3 key items there. Another thing I'll carry is a pen, simply because, you know, I forget my own name sometimes. I forget where I live, so I need to write things down. And if a bad guy wants to tangle, well, you'll get a little, you know, pen in where the sun don't shine. Okay, this is a tactical pen. I don't know if you can see that.
Gentle persuasion.
A kindly reminder to avert his course of actions. So a tactical pen, they're fairly robust.
Yes.
And they can be used for writing down key information or other things. Sometimes, again, if I've got plenty of pockets, I'll carry a little personal first aid kit, nothing fancy. But again, I'm accident prone, so I'm forever falling over. And last time I fell over, my hair fell off. So there's a few sticky plasters and a dressing.
Well, that's it. That's what happens.
Now, the last item I tend not to leave the house with is some form of clothing. Bearing in mind, clothing is part of our protection. So the first layer of protection from or shelter is protection from the elements, i.e. clothing. So I'll take something small like a waterproof jacket. I mean, you can see how small that is. But failing that, if that's too big for the task or the whatever I'm doing, I will carry a bin bag, simply because a bin bag can be improvised into a makeshift poncho or rain cover and, you know, 101 other purposes. So, and it'll fit neatly into a back pocket without taking too much space. So a bin bag, yeah.
Excellent.
A result for
Now,
EXO then.
by the way, Mark Anthony, he remembers the show when Chris the Gardener was on, and hope to have Chris the Gardener back soon as well. He's had a bit of a rough time of it recently. Now, please don't demonstrate how to make a stove again. Yeah, that was a penny stove. I almost had a heart attack last time you did it. Yeah, I did it live. Had a Stanley knife.
Oh dear.
I made a penny stove, and yes, it people with there's Chris sitting there going, you think I was going to sever an artery or something,
Right, yeah, so
but if you look on the internet on how to make a penny stove,
so meths is a good fuel for a penny stove.
it's loads of yeah. Oh yes. Trouble is, there's loads of designs of them. But they can be a bit of a bastard to start as well.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they're not as easy as they can look.
They're not the easiest to start.
Do you want to look at some more items?
And yes, please, yes. And the Pink Planet, whilst we're going about that, says, can you get water purifying tablets? It used to be Camden tablets I used to use.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they still. Can you get water purifying tablets?
Actually, I've got some here to show. So, I mean, as it happens, water.
Whoa, that's great.
Purification was going to be my next sort of item to look at because it's massively
brilliant.
Important. So, again, can you see that? I mean, Puritabs, water purification tablets. Yes. I don't know if they can show up very well. That's what they look like.
Yeah, I can see them. Yeah.
1 tablet per litre of water. It doesn't taste particularly nice. It's got a bit of a chemical sort of bleachy taste to it. However, these are generally pretty effective at killing all sorts of nasties in water. I don't know what.
This went out the shit, yeah. You
exactly.
don't want when you can.
I mean, this is the reason I'm mentioning this is because drinking water which is potentially contaminated is a real kind of danger area. At the very worst, well, I say at the very least, I should say, we're going to have the tom tits, and it's not a great place to be because it means you're literally ineffective at functioning without.
That's right.
Without discomfort. So it's.
Oh yeah, bring a toilet roll as well.
Yeah, for sure. So it pays to have a small kit made up. Again, I like to have things kind of prepped so I can just grab my water purification kit, stick it in the rucksack, and again, it's good to go ready for whatever little adventure I'm on. So some of the items so go on, Paul.
With the 2 bob bits in mind, so just very briefly, if you do end up with the 2 bob bits and you need to wipe a million times, what's the advice to use? Is it do you take a kitchen roll with you, or do you use a dock leaf, or somebody else's bag? Or
I mean, I could share some horror stories on that, but
go on then.
I think the worst one for me was in a public car park in the middle of summer. And anyway, to cut a long story short, I was running naked with some interesting colourful choices on my legs into the nearest river. I'll not elaborate further on that, but it was.
You said that extremely well. You really got over that well. It's brilliantly put.
Yeah, can you imagine the sight of that? Oh, look, there's a man running with shit running down his leg, naked through a public car park. Yeah. Anyway, moving aside.
Sorry about that.
Sorry. This is what's it called again? A Sawyer pocket filter. So it doesn't look, it's hard to tell what that is. This is just a cartridge with some sort of filtration device in it. On one end, you can attach. I mean, it comes with a little bag there, so you can fill the bag up with the water from a river, or you can use a bottle, like a water bottle, which has got a similar sized cap. Stick the water through, put it through the filter, and you can either drink it out the bag using the kind of straw, or you can squirt it into a cup. Right, so
That's brilliant.
these are about,
and they're not that expensive.
the last I saw these were about 25 to 30 quid, but they last for ages. You know, you'll get thousands of gallons pumped through one of these if you look after it, etc. They're but a little bit expensive, but again, do you want to be running through a car park with, drawing attention to yourself in unpleasant ways, or do you want to spend 30 quid on it?
Oh, yes. Well, apparently that was the big problem in the Falklands, wasn't it? The Falklands campaign, because the poor sod's got the 2 bob bits a lot in the Falklands.
I mean,
a lot of the troops were laid out.
Right. I'll be honest. I mean, I've had that condition several times, and definitely some of those times have been through drinking water, which has not been correctly looked after or treated.
What about boiling though? They say boil it, but I mean you have to boil it for a long time. I'd have thought, just to get rid of all the bacteria. I
mean, the best thing to do. I mean, one of my go-to options is just basically boil it. So one thing I will use prior to boiling is, I don't know if you can see that. This is just a canvas.
I can see
canvas bag. It's called a Millbank bag, and these are less than a tenner. Millbank, yeah.
Well, that's interesting. All right.
Again, it doesn't have to be this. You can improvise using clothing, for example. So thick cotton clothing will work just as well. Basically, you put your heavily contaminated water in this, hang it from a tree, let it drip into a cup or a vessel. You will get relatively clear water coming out of it. But then that water, you then either use something like a Sawyer pocket filter, Puritabs, or stick it in a cup and boil it. Now, when you boil it, you don't have to boil it to destruction. You basically, once it's brought to the boil, that's all you need to do. You don't need to boil it for like X amounts of minutes. It's not going to get any hotter. You're not going to kill anything else. It's just boiling. Once it's reached a rolling boil, that's adequate to kill practically everything. Yeah.
Really?
This will only filter the water. It won't purify it. It will only get rid of sediments and, particles, etc. Boiling it will practically kill, most things.
Really? That's interesting. Now, Nuki Brown's got a question.
Go for it.
Question: Could those tactical pens be classed as an offensive weapon?
Yes, exactly. Which is why I would only use it as a pen.
And to get a dog out of a car that's on a hot day with a window
exactly.
closed.
Well, the thing is that I suppose any pen can be an offensive weapon, because you could always write "piss off" on a piece of paper with it, and that's offensive in it.
So the key is, don't ever declare that whatever you're carrying for self-defense purposes is for self-defense purposes. All right, because that's an offense. And of course, the authorities in this country certainly don't want anybody to be able to defend themselves against a maniac with a knife or anything else.
Right.
So
it's like the Clint Eastwood film, isn't it? Was it? Why did you shoot that man? Well, I thought if someone stark naked running down an alley after a woman, I didn't think he was collecting for the Red Cross. That was, I think it's Dirty Harry. Yeah. But now, also, he's got some very good advice here. I don't know whether you was told this in the army. Just wipe your bum on the edge of someone else's
Sphagnum.
There's a strange smell.
Sphagnum moss is a good makes a good arse wipe, incidentally. Sphagnum moss grows everywhere. Yeah. Make sure there's no nettles mixed in with it. Or thorns.
Apparently, now Axos writes, she said, actually, this is actually they wore no underpants in the later Falklands conflict. They were shitting so much, I read. Yes.
Yeah.
Poor souls.
It's quite common in austere environments, which is, again, when we consider a survival situation at our own homes, let's just say the water's shut off so you can't wash hands properly and all the rest of it, that then becomes an austere environment. And again, treatment of water and the necessary precautions then become, kind of closer to home, so to speak. So, I mean, speaking of water, this is another suggestion. This is called Water to Go, and there are literally hundreds of different examples of this type of thing, which is basically just a water bottle, but inside you get some form of purification filter attached. So you can fill up from a stream, for example, put your filter on top and drink away. And that's generally reasonably good for most situations. Again, I say reasonably. You can never, people can still get the, the trots with this kind of thing. So you do have to, be careful, be kind of aware of where you're getting water from, etc. Because it's one of the first things that's going to make people violently ill is contaminated water.
It is one thing that
I was talking to Miles. Sorry,
is that are we the only species that would need to have to prepare for this much? Are we actually meant to be on this realm? Is the question I'm trying to get to here. Is that if you think that there's water that's going to potentially affect us, we need to be conscious of being sheltered and all these other things that we need to do. It makes you wonder whether we're actually meant to be on this realm in the first place. Do you know where I'm going with that? It's as though the Earth itself is not our friend.
I mean, we've got our own. It is a good point, an interesting point, But nobody was interested in the meaning of life aspect. But if there were, I mean, the meaning of life, incidentally, to summarize it, is 42. 42, according to the
that's right.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The meaning of life is 42. Why? Because 42 happens to be the 42. What they're called, the 42 degrees of Ma'at, which is the ancient Egyptian goddess who would weigh a man's soul against a feather to see if he was pure enough to enter the next realm. And of course, the 42 degrees of Ma'at then became the 10 Commandments. And of course, all of these fit into what natural law is, which is a much simplified version of the same principle. But moving aside, this is another consideration, some sort of steel cooking vessel, or it doesn't have to be steel. Copper's a great one. I know you've mentioned that a few times, Eric. Yeah. I would also advocate for some sort of steel storage vessel as well. This is single skin, so it's not like a thermal flask, but I can boil water in that and put that on a fire, boil water in it, wait for it to cool, put the lid on. Then I've got practically a litre of water that I can carry about that's been treated, and I can also drink using the little attached nesting cup. So if you've got 20 quid to burn and you want something really practical for camping and survival, even home preparation, that's one of the top tips I would kind of recommend. Some sort of
fantastic, and not aluminium or aluminum if you're in
preferably
America,
steel.
Because, that's quite toxic. Still, and because I was talking to Dr. Miles Fleetwood, about having the 2 bob bits. And I said, well, I'd take charcoal tablets, because they used to years ago take charcoal. If they felt they'd dodgy tum, they'd have the charcoal from a fire, you see. And this is what they pump children, so they say, with if they've eaten any tablets or anything like that they shouldn't have done. Once they get them in the ambulance, they pump them full of charcoal. So I've heard. I don't know how true it is. Anyway, I was talking to Miles about this, Dr. Miles Fleetwood, and he said, well, it's better to let whatever's in you out of you. All that does is store it up for later. So he said it sort of absorbs it, yes, but you got to get rid of it. He said, and you'd probably be better to just get rid of it and have the 2 bob bits than to sort of have it and keep it sort of rolling around. So, but no, actually, what I like is what Robert said here. He says that tactical pen could be used to draw conclusions.
Good answer.
That's a classic. That's a good one, that one is. Hello, Robert. Long time no see. Nice to see you again. But yeah, so that container, that's bloody good. I mean, what was it, eBay job or go outdoors or something like that?
Yeah, I
With
mean, eBay, you'll definitely get them. Yeah, this one was about 20 quid. Yeah. As you can
It's
see,
not
this
bad.
one's not being used. It's brand new. The one I tend to use is it's not it's not so
It's a bit
nice to
battered.
put on TV. Yeah, a bit battered.
Yeah. But with the first aid kit, I mean, you take plasters and things like that. What about antiseptics and things like that? What sort of antiseptic would you advise in the first aid? Because that's the first thing that comes to mind. Because you're going to cut yourself on something nasty. You might have dirt on it, might have oil, crap. Who knows what's got on it? That's where it is.
That's a good point.
Tetanus, I know, is very rare, but sort of what sort of antiseptic is about the best? The type of antiseptic that sends your backside up to your elbows.
That's a good point. I mean, I'm not a big advocate for modern medicine. I would go for the homeopathic option at the first instance, and I'm sure that there'll be plenty of people listening who probably got a much better idea than me. But for example, if I brought something, I don't think I've got a little first aid kit here that I tend to carry when I'm like out in the wilderness. But I carry a range of things. But one thing I kind of sometimes carry is tea tree oil. Tea tree oil, which has similar qualities. Again, not want to be too kind of, don't quote me on this, but similar qualities to iodine. But for a lot of things, a lot of sort of general scrapes and cuts and all the rest of it, certainly, I would just use soap and water as a kind of first kind of thing. Make sure the area is kept clean. Make sure your hands are clean, and if necessary, salty water. So water with salt, put in it. Bring it to the boil if necessary to make it sterile, and then use that to irrigate wounds and infections, etc.
Good advice.
I guess the best antiseptic we've got is just when they say lick your wounds. I suppose that's one it depends on what you're ingesting. Obviously need to be careful what you're ingesting, but I guess just licking the wound is probably one of the better things, depending on where it is. I suppose if it's on your arse, then you can't.
Or pee on it.
Yeah.
What about pee on it? You see, the thing is that you're of the same belief as myself. I don't like modern antiseptics and things like that. And these people that put all that bloody gunge over their hand before they go, during the lockdown, that is highly carcinogenic. What I sometimes use at home, if I cut myself, is honey.
Oh yeah, honey. Honey's brilliant. Yeah.
Honey, and that'll do. But I mean, I've had when I serviced my car, I got my hands full of crap. I don't wear plastic gloves. I try not to, because quite honestly, your hands get all sweaty and you got to feel things, And I've often cut myself, and there's a lot of muck and filth and that. But touch wood, I haven't really gone down with anything. It's just I just clean it.
You mentioned pee before. I mean, pee can again. It might not be convenient or practicable, but it can be used to irrigate wounds. It's sterile at the end of the day, and it's got salts in it, which are going to help clean a wound, so it can be used.
But I wouldn't advise doing that method if you cut yourself. Sorry.
I say if there is a shortage of water.
No, I was going to say
is drinking your own wee an option? Or is that best avoided?
I personally wouldn't, but I mean, there is people out there advocate for it. But if water's unavailable, I mean, eventually drinking water, which has got essentially pea's got water with other ingredients in it, salts, etc., which are ultimately going to add to your dehydration. So, I've not really been I've not studied that massively. Some people will say that's possible. I personally haven't seen or aware of much evidence to say that that's a good idea. But again, I'm not saying it's not. I just don't know enough, to be honest.
And by the way, that idea of peeing on a wound, if you cut yourself on the side of a box in middle of Tesco's or Sainsbury's, I wouldn't advise peeing on the wound because it's just, it'd be a bit unhygienic, especially if you're near the delicatessen counter. But now DJ B2 says eat biscuit browns.
Oh, I've heard of them.
That'll stop you pooping for a week.
Yeah, he must be an old body if he knows what biscuit browns are. It's like eating hard cardboard. And the old, I don't know if they still do, I'd imagine so, but army rations stop you, they bung you up essentially, so you don't go to the toilet for number 2 for like a week. So, speaking of first aid, this I mean, I've got billions of first aid kits, by the way, but this is one I tend to just keep in the kitchen simply because I class this as a bit of a go-to. Somebody's cut the hand off with a carving knife accidentally. I mean, if it was me, that I'd go straight for this. I've got tough cut scissors. I've got let's pull a few things out. Burn dressings. Again, I don't know if this is upside down or inside out or whatever, but this is a burn dressing. Again, I don't know if that's coming up. Water gel.
No, it's going back to front. Right. Water gel. Yeah, okay. I'll read it back to front. Water gel.
So, tourniquet.
Yes. By the way, if an MP injures themselves, remember to put the tourniquet around the neck. So you just tighten it. I'm joking. Couldn't take it seriously.
It pays to have, again, these won't do for, your young child's falling off a swing and cut their knee. These are for like big wounds, big bleeding wounds, gunshots, and these are large wound dressings, trauma dressings, quite large. So again, this is kind of a pack for major traumatic injuries. This kind of stuff, Celox gauze. It's quite expensive, but again, some of these things are worth considering. It's worth considering some form of first aid items and things that aren't just going to address small wounds, such as, young Tommy's cut his knee, falling off a swing. So, trauma dressings, that's maybe something worth looking at.
That's interesting. Yeah, when I was a kid, do you remember this, Steve? They always used to put this yellow stuff on your knee when you fell over and cut your knee. What the bloody hell was that yellow stuff? It's horrible.
That sounds like Germany.
Kids with this yellow stained stuff. Was it Germany?
Sounds like
Germany.
Yeah, it must have been Germany.
Was it? I'm not sure then. Was it
TCP? Used to use TCP, which you was told this won't hurt, and then they put it on there. It's like they've sliced your leg off.
Again, first aid equipment's useful to have as part of your preparations. I mean, that's just one little kit. I have got stuff that'll treat smaller wounds, and what you could call a boo-boo kit, or what the Americans call a boo-boo kit. Again, other things that are worth considering round about the house is some form of fire extinguisher. So there's a little fire extinguisher. If you can pick one up from a car boot sale for cheap, that's a great thing. Have a torch ready to hand. Hopefully it works. Yeah. Bingo.
Batteries. And plenty of batteries.
Yeah. Right. Here's a couple of other things in terms of lighting. So excuse me while I reach over. So it's worth, as part of our preparations, to have some form of lighting equipment. Now, I find these are quite good. These petrol paraffin lamps. They're pretty much, I'd say, bomb-proof, but obviously they're made of glass, so you've got to be careful. But they also use flammable liquids, which, again, you've got to be careful you don't spill it. And plus, because it gives off a real flame, a naked flame, you've got to be careful of carbon monoxide buildup and, smoke entry. So if you're using it indoors, you've got to use it with care. That's what I'm saying there. Another option is these little chemical light sticks. And again, I know that's going to come across back to front, is it? Right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a glow
Glow
stick,
sticks.
I think, isn't it? Glow.
Yeah. So these are just like kiddie ones, the ones that kids wrap around their wrists and stuff. But they
Yeah.
are pretty useful for having. You can put them on your stairs. So if you've got young children, you don't want your house to be too dark for them walking up and down the stairs. So you could use something like this.
That's a good idea.
Again, just to help illuminate passageways and what have you. So that's an option to consider. But it's also worth having some sort of box. Again, this is a little box I keep just with lighting equipment in. So in an emergency, if the power goes off, I can get out my, various lighting options, from a head torch.
Oh, head torch are very good. But I tell you what are crap, but I have used, and that's those wind-up torches.
Oh, I've actually
don't
got
last
one,
long.
and this one. I
Really?
mean, there was a number of different options, but this one is actually pretty decent, I find. Yeah.
Really? My one was a cheap one, so it conked out after
Yeah.
a while. You sort of,
I mean, you kind of, you've got to take that risk. But I found this type, they're about £6. It was actually all right, I found. Little lanterns. You might want to consider as well candles, or another option to go for. Not massively bright, but if you just want to light up some, have a little bit of, what do you call it? Light up your stairs and stuff like that. Hopefully that works. Oh yeah, Christmas tree lights, the ones, solar powered ones. I don't know if you can see that working.
so that's interesting.
So you can,
Yeah, I can see it.
again,
Yeah.
trail these along a dark corridor, and it just helps to provide a little bit of
Good
luminosity.
point. Good point.
So,
Especially if Granny's living with you or someone like that. Well, all right, dear. She wants to go to the loo, especially when all the lights go out. I want to go to the lavvy.
yeah, exactly.
Follow the
Like
Christmas
a
lights and then pick up the wind-up torch.
Yeah. Don't do it on the Christmas lights.
Yeah.
So there's some options. Again, these are all considerations. It doesn't mean you must do this. It's just things that might be helpful, as long as whatever you do, you've given it some thought. And the another top tip, because I'm a Geordie, is you don't want to spend or waste beer money on trinkets and stuff. So make sure you spend things wisely and according to whatever budget you might have.
Good point. But now Exo's got a brilliant idea here. He says, "I'm camping out in Steve's garden when Armageddon comes."
Hey, as long as you help him to do the cooking.
That's right. So I've had to add this to the what's it, because we're going to be saying goodbye to Food for Thought Radio soon. So I'm going to have a little play around with the try and get, where are we? Oh no, don't want all me. We get there in a minute, Steve. Sorry, mate. Where are we? Yeah, I think we'll have to live with that for a little while, and then when we say goodbye to Food for Thought Radio, we'll bring the screen round a bit more. Now, DJ B2 has said iodine. So I don't know.
That might have been the yellow stuff. So, yeah.
Oh yes, that's what they used to use. Yes, that might have been it. Now it's just Aunt Sally says, "I've got such bad gadget envy tonight. Laugh out loud. Hark at me. What am I going to do with all that?" So, well, give me 2 tin cans and I'll make you a stove. How's that? A free stove.
Exchange for a nice cake.
Yeah, nice piece of cake. Oh, I'd tell you the best one was this avocado mixed with what's the posh cocoa? Cacao.
Cacao.
Not cocaine, obviously.
Cacao. And cocaine, I think. And bloody hell, it hit the spot. And she had made out of oat milk, oats thing, with some nice cream on the top. Aunt Sally certainly knows how to make that. Oh, with xylitol in it as well.
What's that?
Blimey. And it's avocado and coca,
All right.
and that really
Oh,
really
that's
good.
just gone off.
And what's
Something just
that?
happened there. It went off.
Something's-
Can you?
Yeah, I had 2 minutes. In 2 minutes time, I'll just check whether we got everything. Yeah, it's all should be okay. I'll bring the volume up a little bit. We should actually have the outro for Food for Thought Radio any minute
Yeah,
now.
briefly went off altogether there. Don't know what it was doing, but
Now, Exo said, before COVID, I stocked up on all sorts of stuff, even big bin liners, in case we had to bury neighbours next door, etc.
they won't decompose it in a plastic bag, though.
No. Here it comes. We're saying goodbye to Food for Thought Radio. Outro music. But anyway, he said it never happened.
Ah.
By the way, this is the Eat More Fruit tune, which came out in the 1930s.
Another jolly
Here it
tune.
goes. Cheers. You got to see Spike Milligan miming to this.
It's better than any song. Though it isn't very pretty, you've got to
Oh,
admit it's
here it
you.
comes.
So altogether let it go. Eat more fruit.
You have been listening.
You never
to
think
Fucking Hall
1930s as well.
Eric
Introducing
Von Estes.
Eco Green Compost, black gold, engineered on a Lincolnshire family farm. Eco Green Compost isn't just dirt, it's a high-performance, 100% peat-free secret weapon for your garden. Our EGC is born from straw, willow and green cover, whilst our science-backed formula locks in carbon and feeds the soul of your soil. Expect incredible blue.
Oh, that's gone. We'll say goodbye to Food for Thought Radio. Let's get back into a normal air. That's better.
So we ended the show on manure.
On manure. Oh, nice bit of compost. It's delivered through your letterbox if you're out. It's not bad, is it? So you can come home with some nice manure.
When you come back home, you really are in the shit.
Oh. I'll tell you something. I've got mountaineering snails where I live. They climb up my front door. I mean, it's full of snails. I went to close my door. I thought, what's this? There's a bleeding snail in my hand. He climbed up underneath where the hook is,
Wow.
where you open the door. But they're actually mountaineering. I don't know quite
you
what
think
it
they're
is.
cute, Don't you think snails and slugs
Sorry?
are quite cute, though?
Not slugs. No, I don't like slugs so much. Snails are all right.
Apparently, you
yeah,
need to keep
fine.
leopard
Yeah,
slugs,
he's
though.
a
Apparently, leopard slugs will eat all the other slugs. So for the little stripy, the little spotty
Really?
ones, and what the creamy
All
coloured
the
spotty ones,
bastards.
they'll eat all the others.
Cannibal bastards, aren't
Yeah.
they? They're cannibals.
Yeah.
But I find that snails are quite placid. They don't seem to eat anything, don't they? They just sort of eat lettuce leaves, and that's about it, really. My lettuce leaves
yeah.
are that.
Well, the thing is,
But
the trick is if you
was there
find
anything else?
if you find a
Sorry.
snail, take it sort of 5 miles down the road and leave it there. It'll take him about 20 years to get back.
That's right. Yes. Anyway, have you anything more to show us, Steve? You got any?
yeah,
bits and
should-
bobs?
should I-
Like,
I'll go through things fairly quickly because I've got plenty
Please go.
to show and tell, so to speak. But
well, that's good.
it definitely pays
That's
to have some means of conducting repairs. Again, if we're talking about preparedness, whether it's repairs to your car, repairs to your house, repairs to your possessions, definitely worth having items in your house which is going to be useful. So cable ties, some sort of cordage or paracord, along with this wonderful resource here, which is some
Duct
sort
tape.
of duct tape. You fix everything with that.
Oh, Mom.
Have a pair of work gloves and plenty of bin bags. Again, if you don't want to spend money on bin bags because you want to save your beer tokens for Newcastle Brown Ale, you can just collect the charity bags that seem to proliferate.
That's what I do. You get loads through your letterbox
I'm not
as
going
well.
to show you the contents of this rather large toolbox, but I'm sure you get the idea.
Bloody hell.
It pays to have some
Yeah.
tools, even if it's just basic ones. And again, if you're not confident or competent to use them, obviously take care. So tools is a great option. You might even want,
and also hand tools.
I was about to say the same
Because
thing.
remember, you're not going to get electricity.
Power tools are no good.
That sort of stuff.
yeah.
Mm.
Power tools, again, only as good as the power, but you might want to have a range of glues. And I mean, this is quite a good little consideration. Working a lot of applications, which is handheld expanding foam. That's something to consider.
And also, if someone that comes into your house as unwanted, and they definitely want a bump on their head, because they make them look good, you could actually give them some, shall we say, body modification
You
with
can
that.
give them
couldn't
the
you?
bad
Yes.
news.
We're not suggesting it. Yes. Give them a welcoming.
Well,
welcoming
on that
song,
note,
Hawaiian welcome.
on that
And if you-
note, I mean, sorry, go on, Paul. Before
No,
I mention this.
it's okay.
All right. Well, if we're talking about giving somebody the bad news, now you're probably thinking this is a magic wand, but you'd be incorrect. This is a tent pole. Do you know when you get tents and they come with the various poles and they fit into each other?
Yes,
Well, this is just
yes.
an old one. I found it I don't know, Glastonbury or something, an old tent pole, but it makes a fairly robust magic wand to give
I'll be
somebody
honest,
the
I
bad
thought-
news.
Marvelous magic
Yeah.
wand.
And-
Yes.
I initially
get the
thought it
idea.
was a fire poke. Remember the old fire pokers
Yeah.
that used to be made of steel or iron or whatever they were to move the coal about? That's what I thought that was initially.
Yeah. I dare say you can use something like that, but believe it or not,
Yeah.
these are pretty strong. And if you've got one at your front door and your back door, you've got, both exit and entrances covered for
For your tents.
yeah. You never know.
You might urgently want to feel that you want to go camping.
Exactly.
So hence the reason you want them front and back doors. So but a good point there. And now Exo says, let's do some Steve defense advice. So let's do some defense advice. That's a good one with the tent poles, and I think you can get them off of eBay.
Yeah,
pretty cheap.
you could buy a pack of tent poles, like replacement tent poles, and share them out. Have one in your car, have one in your boot, have one in your back door, front door, everywhere. Have one in your tent when you're camping.
Yeah, because if you ever get stopped or anything like that, you say, "Well, I'm a keen camper. I wonder where that one went to. We've been missing that out of my tent. So thank you for finding it, officer."
Lodged in the side of your arm or something.
That's right. Pink Planet says golf clubs are good too. Yes, you may be going down the road for a round of golf.
Happy days.
They could be doing that. They're very
Look a
good
bit
for
more suspect if you've only
emergency.
got one though.
Yes, but they could be for emergency dental work. So if someone comes into your house that's not wanted, they may want some emergency dental work done on them.
Yeah.
I suppose if you got a police constable question, you can always turn it into a sort of a polite conversation. If he starts asking you about the golf club, just say, "Would you like a tea,
Yes.
constable? Do you take it with sugar and milk?"
Yeah.
Might be enough to see him bugger off.
Or you could say, someone come to your house, say, "You with a broken nose, get out of my house." "Oh, I ain't got a broken nose." Boom. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth considering as well as the new world order progresses. The likelihood of being attacked by somebody is probably stronger in the from the police angle than it is from a common everyday criminal. So
You're right. I think it's hyped up a lot as well with the, but what is it? Where is it? Oh, Starmer. Here it is. Starmer's used to having poles at his back door.
Right. I've got. We talked about the power earlier, so power tools. Well, power tools will not work.
Yeah. Oh, that's a bit chunky, isn't it?
Yeah, it's good for weight training, but these things. What's this one called? This is a Bluetti PS54. So This is great for providing a bit of power to you want your laptop or lamp on, small devices like that, or you want to recharge your mobile phones. This will do all that and a little bit more. It comes with its own light. So they're quite expensive. I think this is you're talking about 250 quid, I think. So they can be expensive, but again, it's a good consideration if if you've got the beer tokens to splash out and stuff like that. I mean, I use that for, it's not just for preparation. I do use that for other things when I'm doing survival things and stuff. So it has got some purposes, right?
There's his Telegram channel there. So please remember, I forgot to put it on the site. Sorry about that. I forgot all about it earlier.
Not a worry. I'll maybe feature some of these things on that channel. So if anyone's wants to elaborate or see more things, right? Again, I can't fit this in the screen, but this is just a petrol version of what we've just seen. It's a little petrol generator. This one itself is fairly quiet. It's fairly compact. I can't remember what wattage it is, to be honest. But again, you're going to be able to run power tools off that, and lighting and stuff like that. So it's definitely something to consider if power is going to be useful in your little preparation package. Right.
That's a good point. Sorry, mate, I've cut in on you there.
No, go for it.
Now, Exo says also a walking stick with a big chunk of either carved wood or metal on top can't be taken as a weapon. That's a good point, yes.
Yeah.
And apparently the Victorians used them a lot for defence. And Pink Planet's got a question for you. It says, Steve, if there's two people walking down the road, it sounds like beginning of a gag, doesn't it? Two people walking down the road and a nutter stabs one of them, should the other person run, or how would they overcome the nutcase? Well, that's a $64 million question, isn't it, really? I don't know.
Hey, again, I mean, I would never give a determined answer on that, other than it's all down to the sort of dynamic risk assessment taken by the person at the scene at the time. I mean, I would like to think I'll get stuck in and help other people, but I'd also like to think that I've got the presence of mind to be able to know when to run away. If
I guess every circumstance is different, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's horses for courses. But
there was a chat.
Sorry, mate. Go on.
No, carry on. It's okay, mate. It's okay.
Okay, then. In that case, I mean, I've seen a video recently. I think it might have been a recent incident that's been in the news. Again, I don't watch the news, so I don't know for sure. But I saw a video recently of somebody being attacked violently using something, something sharp, a bladed instrument, and I think somebody got stuck in with some sort of bat. I mean, well done to that guy. I mean, that's the kind of ability that society needs to be at, where they're going to be at least prepared to defend other people. And if that means using some form of implement, a tool that can help you with that self-defense situation, then brilliant. I'm massively in favor of that.
Oh, yes, because some people carry machetes and swords and big things like that around because it's part of their religion. I think, and I could be wrong, I think the Sikh religion, they carry a sword with them. And I think Scots, they carry something down the side of their sock, don't they? With their kilt. I think that's all part of their... Yeah, something like that. But one thing I heard many years ago, and there was a chap who was in a garage, and he'd obviously, his mind had flipped, and he filled up a can of petrol and poured it over himself, and was standing there with lighted matches, just about to light to catch light to himself. And there was a person, I think he was ex-army, and there's a chap who was trained in how to deal with people in that situation, and he talked him out of it because the whole garage would have gone up. And where people were running like anything, this fella didn't. He saved the day. And they said he's incredibly brave. And the fella broke down in tears in the end because he'd actually had enough. But a miracle that precise moment, there's a chappie who was trained by the army how to deal with situations. I guess you may have been trained in situations that had to talk your way out of a situation and calm things down. Like, don't wear dark glasses, take them off because people want to see your eyes, things like that. Did you have training on that sort of thing?
I think the training we had, I don't think I'd be able to discuss on here because it would involve
I'm sorry, mate.
No, it would be like shoot them in the face.
I'm terribly sorry. I really am terribly sorry. I didn't mean to.
Not at all.
To put you into a situation like that.
No, I think
that sounded like as if I was trying to get information out of you. It wasn't. No.
No, I mean the line of work I think that was quite brutal, to be fair. So
you could put a similar situation that I witnessed many years ago on a bus in Birmingham where I might have told you this story before, that I was travelling back in from King's Heath into Birmingham, and there was a stabbing on board the bus that I was on. And when the bus pulled into Borsall Heath, another bus pulled alongside, and everybody apart from myself, the driver of the vehicle, the bloke who'd been stabbed, and his wife and child, and two of the people stayed with the victim. Everybody else on that bus got off, got on the next bus and buggered off, which speaks volumes about. I was the one who got the ambulance involved. I was the one who got the police involved, gave the information on the person who'd done the stabbing and got on to another bus going back the other direction. I give them all the details for that. But again, it's, I guess, like you were saying before, it's circumstances and how you deal with them at the time. And that was, I guess I was in my element for that because I knew what I was talking about and trying to help people with. But everybody else, it shows that you can have 50 odd people around you and 49 of them will walk away.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean?
Hey, good for you as well, by the way. Did the guy recover? Do you know?
Yeah. That was October 2004.
Did you see that experiment they did?
And I learned how primitive the police are and how incompetent they are. In that, I had to go and do a lineup.
You're breaking up, mate.
Oh, can you hear me all right now? Can you hear me okay now?
I can.
So I had to go and do a lineup.
Yeah, I'm okay now. Yeah.
I think it was Acox Green Police Station, and this shows how primitive the police force is, because I got off the train at Acox Green, went across to the police station, and rang the bell, which then rings down to Edgbaston Police Station, who then call up Acox Green Police Station to tell them there's someone at the door. It's unbelievable, unbelievable.
Yeah, mate.
It's and the best of it was when on the day of the stabbing, they took me to Edgbaston Police Station to give them what I saw, what I witnessed, and so on. And even that was incompetent in the respect that they initially were going to do a handwritten statement, and then they said, "Oh no, we'll do it on a video. Oh no, the video recorder's somewhere else. We'll do it this way, and we'll do it on we'll do a tape instead." Okay. Oh, but we can't do that at the moment because the person that did the stabbing has been arrested, and they come into the same police station where you are. Oh right, that's really a good idea. Bring the person who I'm about to give details about to the same place where I'm sat. It's unbelievable. The police are a waste of space.
Did they treat you like a criminal though? Because
the best of it was, and I did stand my ground actually, because there was some blood on. I got a jacket on at the time, and this was in the middle of October, and there was some blood had gone onto the jacket because I'd helped the chap who'd been stabbed. They needed him to lie down on the floor of the bus, so I helped them do that. And the police said, "Oh, we'll need your jacket for forensics." I said, "Okay, no problem." I said, "Well, one of you is going to have to drive me home then, because I'm not walking home or going back up to Birmingham New Street Station and getting a train home, and I've just got a T-shirt and trousers on in the middle of October. And they ummed and ahed about it. I said, you're taking me home. And this copper did. He decided, okay, yeah, we'll do that. And the best of it was, in that car, coming back from Birmingham, down the M6, M54, and then where I was living at the time, there wasn't any point where that driver was below 100 miles an hour. And I'm not joking. He was consistently above 100 miles an hour on every bit of motorway.
Doesn't surprise me.
No.
But they treat you like a criminal. I mean, I was a witness to something once, and they treated me as if it's really awful. They're not nice, and you're just doing your duty. I mean, this was a long time ago, and I vouched that no, I've seen nothing. In the future now, I've seen nothing. I know nothing.
The best was the copper who'd done the interview. At the end of it, he said to me, he said, if this happened again, what would you do? I said, I'd get on the other bus that pulled alongside and gone into town. I said, because this is just a shambles with how you treat people, and the fact that you cut one hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing. It's no wonder they don't catch anybody, because they're completely incompetent, as you've said many times, Steve.
Do they give you a cup of tea or anything like that, or make you relaxed?
I got a cup of tea out of them. I got a cup of tea out of them, but it's still shite in it. To be honest, I wouldn't do it again.
No, I got like that, because I actually witnessed a head-on collision in a car, and they even wanted my driver's license, even though I wasn't involved. They wanted everything. I thought, hang on a minute, I'm not involved. I witnessed it. But they still wanted my driving license and details of that, and not only the driving license. What else did they want? All loads of other details, and I was treated like as if I was involved in it, but I wasn't.
Well, when I called it the 999 thing, being a bus handler comes in quite handy sometimes, and it did for that scenario. But I had to tell the individual that was on the 999 call wasn't listening to what I was telling them, because when we bailed off the vehicle in Borsall Heath, the two people who'd done whoever had done the stabbing and his mate had got on a bus going the other way back towards King's Heath. But there was two vehicles going the same direction, same type of vehicle. And I was trying to explain to this muppet on the 999 call which vehicle it was and the registration they needed. And they couldn't get that in their heads that buses have, back in the old days when you used to have like A111 somewhere there, operators would purchase batches of registration plates. So you'd have G100 to G316 EOG all in a batch of buses. And this muppet on the 999 call couldn't get her head round that they could have two vehicles with a similar registration, but they are two individual vehicles. It took forever for them to get that in their heads. They couldn't work it out. And these are people who are supposed to know what they're doing. It's I wouldn't do it again. I must be honest.
No,
I wouldn't.
No,
well, I probably would, because that's my.
Keep away from them.
I probably would, because I'd always help people, but I wouldn't deal with the police. That's what I'd say.
Well, this what I witnessed is a famous actress. Her daughter was in a car with two, a 14-year-old daughter was in a car with two 20-year-old blokes who were showing off, driving like maniacs. And as I was driving down the road, just missed me and had a head-on collision with a car behind me.
Wow.
And
so I was going to say, in answer to Exo's question, the bus I was on went through Borsall Heath, the Route 35 at the time. I think it probably still does. Sorry, Chris.
What was the reason for the stabbing? Did you find out? Was it somebody? Were they just nutters, or?
I don't know. I don't know if there was some conflict on board the bus, whether he'd said something or what. I don't know what had gone on. But I was sat sort of behind, sort of where the step would be up to the back of the vehicle, and this bloke, this black chap walked down the bus, turned around, and he got a gold-coloured knife in his hand, and he walked back up and stabbed this chap in the chest. I don't know what had been going on, why whatever had happened, but whether it was somebody they knew or whether it was because the 35 bus route comes in from sort of a rough part of Birmingham, and I suppose most of Birmingham's rough in fairness, but that particular route is particularly rough. But And I've said this before, I was obviously meant to be there, and this is where I think fate and things like that step in, because, and I'm sorry I'm mentioning buses quite a lot at the moment. When I went out initially to King's Heath to get the outer circle around to Acock's Green, and I was going off to go and do some photography somewhere. And at the time, the Travel West Midlands at the time had just put in 42 brand new Volvos onto the outer circle, and I'd only been on one vehicle of those in the entire fleet. And when I got out to King's Heath, the vehicle that turned up was the one I'd already been on. So I let it go and got on this old bus back into Birmingham. And I've said this before on here, that if there's ever such a thing as fate, it was that. Because that bus could have been anywhere. That particular vehicle, fleet number 4677, could have been absolutely anywhere in Birmingham. Anywhere, even on the outer circle. The outer circle is 2.5 hours in both directions. And that bus could have been anywhere, but it turned up where I was stood. What are the chances? So I was meant to be on that vehicle going back into Birmingham to help that chap on that bus.
It's funny. It's sometimes these things are meant to be. You know, it's really strange. I mean, I spoke to someone once. I can't remember where, a long time ago, and it was an old boy. And I said, "Where did you meet your wife?" And he said, "I met her on top of a bus." And he said, and the way my granddad actually met his future wife, he was a greengrocer, and he lobbed a tomato at someone, and it missed and hit this woman. And then when he went over and apologised, he's wiping the tomato off of her. They got talking, and love blossomed from there on. So that's weird, isn't it? You know, yeah. But it's funny. Anyway, Steve, have you got any of your courses coming up where you're going to be camping and things like that? So far away, mate. Plug all you want, and remember to look at his. I haven't put it. I'll put it up there again. You got to look at where is it now? You got Survival Steve. There it is. Survive the Apocalypse with Survival Steve, and also you got the your other Telegram channel, and here it is. It's the Occult Academy. So that is a difficult one. That's supposed to be the Occult Academy. It might be a good idea to just tap in the Occult Academy in the Telegram and find it that way. But that's the Occult Academy, and this one is Survival Steve. And I think you're going to be posting a few things up on there. And also,
I'll do a little presentation, if you like, on the survival channel about sort of preparedness items, etc. So you
do some good videos on there as well. I've seen them. And if you want to find out about that, any chickens and things like that, go on to my Telegram channel. Here it is, and you'll see that item about the chickens. And I'll try and send that recommendation through, Paul. About you mentioned about that, chicken thing.
Red Henry homing.
Yes,
they're a charity. They'll collect them. They probably can't collect all 6,000, but they'll collect a fair percentage of them, and they'll all find homes. They always do.
I don't know. I mean, there must be someone that could put at least, look after. I would have thought half a dozen would have been enough. I mean, can you get away with 2 chickens, or do they?
You'd need at least 2. Yeah, they like company. You'll have just a minimum of 2. And that, I know what you're saying before, Steve, about that it is a cruel system that they've got. Even like the chickens, it's because with the battery hens or the the egg laying ones, they're expected to lay something like, is it 5 a day? And when they get down to about 3 a day, they're deemed as uneconomical, and that's when they get rid of them.
Right.
But there's nothing but and because of how they live, they end up coming out most of the time. They're featherless because they're bored. Yeah. They peck the feathers out and stuff. It's cruel, horrible, really, when you think of it.
That's right.
And yet there's places. There's one place we went to. Where was it? A place called Beckton Strange near Shrewsbury, and there's a massive chicken farm there. But the chickens are all free. They basically got massive acres and acres of ground to run around in. And they're happy. I know they probably end up with the same fate, but at least while they're there, they're actually being chickens.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You're not going to have a good, happy life. But anyway, are you off to Wales this month or tomorrow next month? Or
The next date in Carricoed which is North Wales, is somewhere, I think it's like the 25th of July. The details will be on www.carricoed.com.uk or whatever it is. I can't remember. But it's on Facebook as well. So if you put in Carricoed, CARUCOED, then the website will pop up and details will be on there. I'm not sure if I can make July, but they do have events on regardless. And the next thing for me is up in the northeast, I'm pleased to say. So I'm giving private survival tuition to somebody in the northeast. So that'll be something for me to be embarking upon.
And I mean, these courses, how much roughly do they cost? And food and things like that. Do you have to bring your own food and things? You could get.
I believe as an example, the last one in North Wales for the weekend was £250 per person, and it was all food included. And
not bad.
To be fair, there was a number of. It wasn't just me teaching survival. There was other things on the menu, so to speak, such as sound baths, and this was all inclusive. So I think personally that was quite good value. Yeah,
it's today's prices. That's very good value. That's the thing. You particularly like Wales. I know it's something about Wales. It's a fascinating place.
Yeah.
But yes, I mean, do you ever go to the West Country like Cornwall and places like that, or I know you're up in Scotland a lot, but something about Cornwall.
Actually, the last time I was in Cornwall was a number of years back. I was actually doing survival stuff with the army down there.
Really?
Yeah, Cornwall's an awesome place.
It is.
That was the last time I was there, so that's a few years ago. But hey, I mean, I'm open to anywhere, to be honest.
Yeah.
Do you find that when I was up in Scotland about a month and a half ago, however long it was, do you find that when you go into Scotland, you find a lot less spraying of the skies? When I was up there for the week I was there, I saw one chemtrail, should we say, that was over Dundee, although that might be Dundee itself. But also the head pressure that seems to be around our towns and cities here didn't seem to be the case up in Scotland. It's felt as though once you got north of the border, the head pressure and whether it's 5G or whatever it is that's causing that disappeared off. And then when I did my journey back, the first chemtrail I saw was from the back of not literally from the back of a bus, but I was on board a bus from Carlisle, and that was the first time I saw any chemtrails in the week. For the entire week I was up in that area, not one in Scotland anywhere.
Right.
I don't know if you noticed that when you're up there.
You might have a good point. I mean, I can't say I've noticed particularly, because I've been up in Scotland plenty of times, particularly around like Edinburgh and the borders, and seen plenty of chemtrails on my travels around there. So, but you've probably got a point. Certainly, it wouldn't surprise me if there's few and far between up in the Highlands, for example.
Well, there's people to kill, isn't there, really, when you come to think about it? Why waste all your aluminium and Christ knows what that they're pumping out? And also, our weather's been a bit strange. It's been, for June, it's a little bit cold. It's been getting colder for the last couple of years in June, because they used to say flaming June when I was a kid. But it's not flaming June now. It was, well, what is it? A couple of days ago, it'd be freezing, it was. And but today it's been a bit warmer, but the sun's been out, but it's not that warm, the sun. And very weird. I mean, I've got a solar charger in my car, and it shows you what the rate of light that's coming in. Now, normally, the sunshine is, at this time of the year, it goes to about 12.5 volts. It's 12.2 volts. Even though it's a very bright day, which I thought was very strange. And it's been like this for a long time. Anyway, fellas.
I like that question from DJ B2 there.
Where are we?
The last one. No, the last but one now.
Why do the Welsh buy so many Velcro gloves?
I assume it's for sheep use.
Oh,
Does a Velcro stick to wool?
oh my God. Oh boy, oh.
Are you shearing that sheep? No, get your
Yeah.
own.
Is that about New Zealanders, you know? And I won't tell you about the dog one, not the radio thing. No, that was on. That's been said too many times. Well, all right, very quickly. There used to be a woman called Angela. Was it Rayburn? An agony aunt, yes, who spoke about sexual problems and things like this. She spoke like this. And I was driving home from work one night, and I've been working late, and I was tired out, and I was turning around. You know, there's nothing on the radio. I think, oh bloody hell, what's this? And suddenly I get this. Hello on this radio. It's calling show. I thought, oh, I don't know what this is. I didn't know it was her. I have this embarrassing problem. Yes. Don't worry. We will. I've heard everything. I've had a relationship and with an Alsatian, and almost went into the back of the bus in front of me. What the bloody hell? And I thought that. I mean, I thought, you filthy bastard. She said, oh, it's quite normal if you've been brought up with animals. I thought she was going to give him the Dressed Battersea Dog Zone. Anyway, I thought, did I really hear that? Because now I do believe that these phone-in shows, I think there's a team there, a crew of actors that spice it up a bit. I really do. If it gets a bit boring, you know. And I think that was it. And anyway, this played on my mind a bit. And I thought, I've been working late recently. Bloke having a relationship with an Alsatian. I thought, no, perhaps I heard things. But anyway, when I went back to work next day, I worked with a load of Australians, and I said, "Hey, Bruce, did you hear that pom last night on the radio that checked the Alsatian?" Oh, of course, yeah. And they said, and all bloody day they said to me, "Oh, God, we got New Zealanders that are sheep shaggers. Now we've got bloody poms that are dog shaggers. Hey, Pom," because they used to call me Pom. Hey, Pom, there's a nice Pekingese outside you might fancy, you know. That all.
I think the previous joke needs to be explained to XO.
Previous joke.
I think about the
Velcro gloves.
Velcro gloves.
Yes.
My guess is, this isn't from experience. It's just a guess. Is that Velcro makes it easier to keep hold of the sheep? Would be my guess.
I don't know. I'm not into that sort of thing.
No, neither am I. But thanks, XO.
All I do know is that the sheep, when I went to bleeding South Wales, and I went up round that, the sheep didn't get out the road or the lane. Yeah, and they're going. And he brings his mate along to have a look as well. Look at that bleeding human in the car. And I had to get out of the car and say, "Look, sod off, shoo." And they still didn't want to show. They're still going. I'm sure they did it deliberately. I'm positive they did. You know, I almost went up to put my bumper near them, and they're still, you know.
When I did the bus route from Carlisle to Keswick, that goes through some very rural bits, and there's lots of cattle grids and stuff. And you go past people's houses, and there's a wild sheep, just sitting, eating their garden or whatever, the flowers and stuff. I think, why would you plant flowers knowing the sheep going to come in and eat this stuff? Why would you invest in posh plants? You know what I mean? Shouldn't you buy something that's poisonous to them so they don't come back again?
Well, there's I don't know whether it's still the same. There's a place, I think it's near Ongar in Essex, where cattle are allowed to roam. And it's an old law which hasn't been changed. And if you go there, there's bleeding cattle wandering across the road and wandering. And it's a little village. It's just full of cattle wandering around because they're allowed to do that. So people can't have nice front gardens because the bloody things are chewing all the cud and everything. But there's all signs up there. Be careful. with cattle, and you'd be driving along, there's a bleeding cow in the middle of the road and things like that.
I tell you what, though, I bet it improves people's driving skills, though, because you're not going to
Yeah.
stick your foot down, are you, and finally you end up in the back,
Oh no!
rear end the cow.
Well, they reckon if you drive into a cow, your car will come off worse. You know, it's not going to. The cows are big beasts. They really are.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, on that note, thank you very much for joining us, fellas. It's been a great show. Thanks, Steve, for
You're welcome. Thanks for
sharing
having
your
me.
knowledge.
Love it.
Fantastic. Really enjoyed it. And the other thing I was going to say is we got the Paul English show, which is coming up on Food for Thought Radio and Rumble and YouTube, live this Thursday, 8 o'clock. And next week, I think you're live again, aren't you, Steve?
Possibly, yeah. Yeah.
We'll look it up. Anyway, thank you, everyone. And remember, please think of subscribing. And you can join on the chat with Steve's Telegram channel. And I've also got a Facebook channel, but I'd use Telegram more because you can say a lot more on Telegram. So please, visit Steve's Telegram channel and also my Telegram channel and anybody else's at the Cult Academy and Telegram channel. All very interesting, all very topical chat. And all I've got to say is whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh and